What's good? What's good, people? What's happening? What is happening? Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road. What's going on, people? You good? What's good? What's good? Let's just get this sorted. Get a few things done. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, what's going on, people? You good? I hope everything's good. All right, let me just get this sorted and then we'll be good to go. Okay, sports. No, it's not. Save. There we go. Salute to you guys. What's going on? Salute, Brendan. Salute, Dante's Double Cheeseburger Nation. How are you guys doing? What's good? What's good, people? Some big news breaking. Some big news in the boxing world. Greg, I hope you're well as well, mate. I hope you're well. Guys, I'm going to leave the link. Anyone wants to join, you're more than welcome. You know the score by now. You know the score. Command V. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's get this show started. So, guys, what do you make of the news? Fantastic year for boxing. Brendan, come on. Come on, you've been on before. But yeah, fantastic year for boxing. We're potentially going to get Crawford and Porter, which is finally a fight that we wanted to see Crawford involved in. So hopefully if Crawford, gets the win, there's not going to be any excuses after that fight. That'll be a great win. Canelo Alvarez hopefully finalizes the fight with Plant. Hopefully we can get, obviously we got Spence and Manny, we got Joshua Usyk. So yeah, we've got some stuff. Brendan says in 15 minutes he'll be on. More than happy, brother, to beat you to come on. It'll be great having you on. But yeah, so we've got great fights coming up. Great fights coming up. And I want to discuss it with all of you. Discuss it and let's talk about it. Let's talk about these great matchups, these great fights. There's some really good fight. There's some really good fights, that I'm looking forward to. I think the Spence and Manny fight is a great fight that I'm definitely looking forward to. If Terence Crawford-Porter gets made, that'll be up there for me, just because of the fact that I think Porter's very dangerous. If Crawford beats Porter as I think he will, he's got to be setting up a fight with Errol Spence. Yeah, I agree. What's a harder fight? Is Spence fighting Manny a harder fight, or is Crawford fighting Porter a harder fight? What's the harder fight for Spence and Crawford? Who's got the harder fight, Spence or Crawford? It's a tough one, ain't it? I don't know. Because Porter's he's literally like a bulldog. He just doesn't leave you alone, does he? He's in your face. He's tough. He's rugged. He's got a great chin. Someone like Crawford might be a little too fresh for Porter. And I won't be surprised if Crawford beats him up. And whereas it Spence v. Pac-Man, imagine if Pac-Man beats, I think Manny can. Yeah, I agree, Greg. That's a good point. You know what? A lot of people are writing Manny off. A lot of people are writing Manny Pacquiao off in that fight. But I don't know. There's still a few question marks for me. And there's still a few fights that, I think Spence should have. I think the Manny fight will tell us a lot. Thurman, Crawford. These are fights I would like to see Spence have. I think these are some great fights for me anyway. Can Porter beat Pac-Man? It's a difficult style for Pacquiao at this stage in his career, isn't it? I don't know. That's a hard question because I think that's a difficult style. The way Porter rushes you, him being physically quite strong, That won't be a great fight for Manny at this stage, to be honest. The way I saw Pacquiao looking yesterday and how I saw Spence looking yesterday had me puzzled and second guessing that Errol ices Manny easily. Wow. I didn't really see Spence. What was Spence doing and what was Manny doing that made you think like that? What made you think that? Spence v Manny 5 years ago will be completely different. Yeah, Spence v Manny 5 years ago, I would have Pacquiao winning that, to be honest. Pacquiao, like 5-6 years ago, was an absolute beast. And actually 10 years ago, Pacquiao around 2007 to 2010, 11 was a monster. There's not many people that could have beaten that Pacquiao, to be honest. He was walking through guys like Cotto. Would Spence beat Cotto, the one that Pacquiao beat? I'm not sure. Would Spence beat Mosley, the one that Pacquiao beat? I'm not sure. Errol Spence recent sparring video going around and Manny's most recent training video. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still not convinced. I still think it's a dangerous fight. Even the Manny Pacquiao's trainer said it's a very dangerous fight. So I'm not convinced that we can go off of sparring footage. I think Pacquiao turns up. It's a tough fight, man. It's a tough fight for it. Pacquiao's he's unpredictable. We just don't know. He's proved us wrong so many times. Still say he got the Mayweather win, but lost it on the cards. Who got the Mayweather win? Pacquiao. You think he beat Mayweather? Is that what you're saying, Greg? That you think he beat Mayweather? Because I don't think he beat Mayweather. I think Mayweather, for me, won that fight. Yeah, I'm not sure. Greg says no. Caleb Plant beat Canelo set. I hear they're looking for. I can't wait. That's a great fight. That's a great fight, man. I obviously Canelo. I think Caleb Plant's been overlooked though. I think Caleb Plant is being overlooked by Canelo. I mean, not by Canelo, by the fans. I think Caleb Plant's a lot better than what people are giving him credit for. He's a lot better than what people are giving him credit for. Caleb Plant can really fight. No ways about it. Caleb Plant can really fight. And I think he's been overlooked by a lot of people. I think he's been overlooked. I think he's been overlooked massively by a lot of the boxing fans, to be honest with you. Caleb Plant, he's got fast hands, he's got fast feet. He's a good fighter, no doubt about it for me. This is no cherry pick or this is an undefeated super middleweight champion. He's never been beat before, so I don't know where people get like he's cherry picking and I don't understand. I don't understand. I just don't understand how people can look at this and just say, well, it's a cherry. Like, come on. Let's be real. There's no way this is an easy fight for anybody. Caleb Plant would be a tough fight for no matter who he fights. Let's be fair about it. Caleb Plant's no joke. Cleared out division. So says Canelo Plant official yet? Not yet. AVG. Not yet. Not just yet. But I reckon it's not far away from being official. Cleared out a full division in 10 months. Think Plant will give him a better fight than the last 3 super middleweights, but Canelo wins. That's incredible. Greg, what's your opinion, right? I just made a video and I want to know your opinion. If Manny Pacquiao beats Errol Spence, does that make him pound for pound number 1 over Canelo? Or does Canelo remain pound for pound number 1? Because for me, Manny Pacquiao beating Spence is a better win than anything Canelo's had in the last, since Golovkin, really, right? Errol Spence is currently top 5 in a lot of people's top 5 pound for pound, right? Would that put Manny Pacquiao number 1 pound for pound, or would Canelo cleaning out a division in 10 months and not at the same level? Manny Pacquiao's last 3 fights would be Thurman, Spence, and Broner, whereas Canelo's last 3 fights are Billy Joe, Yildirim, and Callum Smith. So Canelo could make. So a minute. Let's see what people are saying. Hard question, says Brendan Jackson. Errol didn't look as fit in the sparring, and Manny was in ridiculous shape. In what I meant, I have Spence winning even now, but the more endurance Pacquiao comes into the fight with, the better than fight with, the better his chances are. Even he could win. I'm really looking forward to that one. So once I can place a bet, I will be getting for a late stoppage for Canelo to win. Yep, late stoppage, I believe. Canelo could make Color Plant appear like easy work, even though he's good. Yeah, he could do. No, so Greg says no, he won't be pound for pound number one. Look at the results of the last 5 fights. So what are their last 5 fights? So I know Manny Pacquiao's Spence, Thurman. If he beats by the Spence, which is obviously a massive underdog, not many people think he's going to beat Spence. But if he does beat Spence, Thurman, Broner, Matisse, and who was the one before Matisse? Was it Horn? I thought he beat Horn. He got robbed in that fight. But yeah, what's Canelo's? Canelo's is Billy Joe. So if he beats Plant, it'd be Plant, Billy Joe, Yildirim, Callum Smith. And was before Callum Smith, was it Kovalev? I think it might have been Kovalev. Canelo remains pound for pound. Okay, Greg, let me ask you another question then. And let me ask all you guys a question. If Usyk beats Joshua, undisputed cruiserweight champion, and then goes on to beat Joshua and becomes a unified champion, what about him? Pound for pound number one. Think about that. Because that would be some achievement as well. If Canelo beats Plant and moves up to beat Beterbiev, then I don't think anyone could be above him. Yeah, that's without question. Canelo. I'd fighting champions though. This is my argument. People say they aren't good fighters. Canelo's are fighting the belt holders. Shouldn't everyone be trying to win a belt? Yeah, true. I agree. And the fact that Canelo's cleaned out the division so quickly as well. Let's not forget that. So Greg says Usyk should well up the pound for pound loss above Spence and Bud if he beats AJ. Yeah, 100%. So you say number 2. So Canelo right now seems untouchable. He doesn't seem like, he's got the best. Would you look at Usyk's last 3 fights in that case? So what's his last 3 fights? Oh, yes. Yeah, I agree. He's fought Chaz Weatherspoon, Derek Chisora, and Joshua. Yeah, when you look at it like that, it's not great, is it? But when you look at the resume, like the win, significant win, guy, a cruiserweight champion, really cruiserweight fighter, beating a heavyweight unified champion, a big dude. We're talking, that's pound for pound right there. That's what I call pound for pound right there. But again, it's when you look at Canelo's resume, the amount of great fighters that he's fought, it's hard to make a case that anyone's superior than Canelo, because Canelo, it's not just one fight, it's the amount of fights he's had in the last 2 or 3 years, and the guys that he's beaten, the way he's beat them, I think it's hard to really say anyone tops him right now, And then to clean out a division in 10 months, that's just silly. That don't happen. How many people can clean out a division in 10 months? That's just ridiculous. So I think we got to give Canelo massive props. That's why it's so subjective. Yeah, it is subjective. It's hard to kind of come up like, you could make a case either way, really. You could push a case either way. If Terence Crawford knocks out Shawn Porter, for me, does he solidify his pound for pound number 2? But then if Usyk beats Joshua, does he solidify his pound for pound position as number 2? I don't know. It's really tough, man. Still think Inoue is in my top 3. Inoue is a top fighter, man. Inoue is a great fighter. Great fighter. He's been demolishing guys as well. Again, we need to see him fight Donaire. We need to see him fight Casemiro. We need to see him fight the winner of Casemiro Rigondeaux. We need to see him fight the champions at that weight class, So Donaire and Inoue, he's already beat Donaire, to be fair. He's already beat Donaire. But I want to see him fight. I want to see him fight Casemiro, man. That's a great fight. That's a great fight. That's a great fight, man. So Brendan says Inoue is in his top 3 pound for pound as well. Inoue is a beast. Inoue is a beast. There's no doubt about it. Inoue is one of the best out there, without question. Without question, Inoue is one of the best out there. Okay. Okay, so my argument for Usyk, he'd be a champ at the 2 of the biggest divisions, 2 of the biggest weights in the division. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Usyk. I think if he beats Joshua, he definitely goes pound for pound number 2. Some people may even make a case for number 1, but I think, like we said, Canelo's body of work might be too much. But I'm pretty sure there'd be people pushing an argument for him to be pound for pound number 1. But what a great time, man. What a great time. We've got so many great fights. Pacquiao, Spence, Usyk, What fights are you looking forward to the most? And hopefully poor Terence Crawford can get done as well, because that'd be a great fight. If we can get that in like November, that'd be a great fight, mate. Great fight. What a fight. What a fight that would be if we can get Porter Crawford over the line. And Crawford even said that that's the fight that I'll show you that I'm pound for pound. And I'll prove to the world that I'm the best pound for pound fighter. And obviously after that fight, no excuses, man. No excuses. We don't want to hear any excuses after that, fight about, oh, Porter's on the slide, or Porter's no good, or Porter's this, that, and the other. No excuses after that, because Terence Crawford would have legitimately proven that he's a top dog, in the welterweight division after that fight. So if he was to win, and if he wins in dominating fashion, then he would separate himself from the other champions, because let's be honest, no one's beaten Shawn Porter in emphatic fashion. No one. So Terence Crawford could beat him in emphatic fashion. Canelo number 1, Inoue number 2, and Usyk if he beats AJ 3. Bud is sliding down the pound for pound, in my opinion, as his legacy is all 140. Spence is not the same fighter since the car crash, in my opinion. Wow. So this is what Greg has to say. He believes Canelo's number 1, Inoue's number 2, Usyk, if he beats AJ, is number 3. Bud is sliding down the pound for pound ranking. But Greg, if Crawford beats Porter in emphatic fashion, then where would you place him? Surely then it'd be back to near the top. Yo. So Mark Wayne's in the house. Yo, what's happening, yo? We're all good, man. We're all good. Good to have you, Mark. Good to have you. Good to have you in the live stream. But yeah, I think Porter Crawford is a fight that I'll really be looking forward to. Really looking forward to. I think that's a great matchup. I do. I think that's a great matchup. And that's the kind of matchup for me that could bring out the best in Terence Crawford. It could well do. How do leave out Loma in the top 10? I don't think to me Loma is in the top 10 pound for pound for me. I don't know how people leave him out. I don't get it. Just because he lost one fight, close fight, he gets left out and he gets overlooked. I don't understand that, to be honest. I don't know how people just overlook Lomachenko. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Mark Wayne says, all the way from Texas. Good to have you, brother. All the way from Texas, man. My friend Jesus is coming, is in the house. So Greg says, that's a tough. Bud beats Porter, as Porter add gatekeeper to the belts at 147, in my opinion. Goes back to 4, possibly 3. Fair enough. Yeah, he is I don't know. You know what gets me angry about Porter? I don't really think Porter's like an elite fighter, but people seem to really rate him really highly. I think he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but I've never really viewed him as an elite fighter. I want to see Virgil Ortiz and Bud. Who do you think winning that? I think Terence Crawford might be too much for him at this point. Virgil Ortiz is quite green. He's not developed, Terence Crawford he's one of the top guys right now. Greg says, what about this news on Teofimo? Yeah, he doesn't want to go to Australia, does he? He doesn't want to go to Australia. He doesn't want to go to Australia and fight there. So I think the fight might be off. And I think he's got a lot of money. He's been basically, I think there's a lot of money for him to fight Lomachenko on the table. So it doesn't really make sense for him. It doesn't really make sense for him to go to Australia, right, when he could possibly make a huge amount of money. So that's why I think it's happening with this Teo Kambosos fight. I think that he doesn't want to go to Australia, and I think there's a lot of money for what's his name, Teofimo Lopez, to fight Lomachenko. I think the money being offered is ridiculous. So I think he might vacate the IBF belt, which is a shame. And he may go and fight Lomachenko in a rematch right away, just because I think the money's too good to turn down, to be honest with you. What happened with Teo with Kambosos? Yeah, we just gone through. I think he doesn't want to go to Australia, Mark. And I think that's where that fight is being talked about. I'm not sure he wants to go to Australia. Jesuis is coming. Zodo v Benavidez. Who wins? That's a tough fight, man. That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. I'd go. When you say Zodo, you're talking about Gilberto Ramirez, right? I'd say Benavidez. I'd say Benavidez. I like Benavidez, but Ramirez is good as well. I don't know. That's a tough fight, man. Tough fight, 50-50. 50-50, man. Porter gives everyone a tough fight. Yeah, he does. He does give everyone a tough fight. I agree. But nah, I just don't see him beating Terence Crawford. I don't see him beating Terence Crawford, man. I don't see him beating Crawford, man. I think Crawford's going to put a beating on Shawn Porter. I think you're going to see Terence Crawford show his nasty side in that fight, and I think you're going to see a dominating, vicious performance by Crawford. I do. He's supposedly going to drop the IBF and Loma will get a shot. Does this mean Teo don't want none of that Loma rematch? No, I think he's been offered crazy money for Lomachenko. That's what I think anyway. I think he's been offered some huge money for that fight. I'm talking big money. Like we're talking like 8-9 million or something ridiculous for that Lomachenko fight. He's been offered a sum which is too hard to turn down. So Nos says they rate Porter high because he gave Spence his hardest fight. He's really not that great in my opinion. They just do that to make Spence win over him look greater. Yeah, but Porter, he's been beat a couple of times. Didn't Thurman beat him as well? So, Brook beat him. So, yeah, I'm not sure that. Yeah, I think Crawford's going to take him apart, to be honest with you. That's just my personal opinion. Canelo will easily beat Plant. And Porter is an underdog. Watch Shawn v. Danny and Shawn v. Spence. Porter is small and skilled somewhat, like Manny. Porter dominated Spence. Porter was robbed. Come on, Rohit. Surely you don't believe that. Surely you don't believe he was robbed. Surely you don't believe that. Zodo v. Benavidez could go either way, 50-50. Yes, yep, agreed. Canelo, last 10 opponents, if I'm not mistaken, had combined loss of 13 fights. Yeah, no one's doubting Canelo. Canelo's special, man. Mark Wayne, I don't think he could sell the pay-per-view personally with Kambosos. Yeah, not in America. Kambosos unknown. It is a test for Crawford. Porter is a serious threat for Crawford. Porter beat Spence and somewhat like Manny in terms of size and skills. EK, how are you?
Hey, Salam, man. I'm good. How are you?
Wa salam, man. I'm good, man. I'm all good. All good. How's things?
It's good, man. How's your throat and everything?
It's better, man. It's better. I've been to the antibiotics. You know what? Actually, for the last couple of days, I haven't taken it. I need to start taking it again. But yeah, it's not bad, man. It's a lot better, man. A lot better. But thanks for asking, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. What are you guys talking about today?
Crawford-Porter, man. Crawford-Porter. Who you got? What are you excited to see Porter in a big fight finally, or
finally get tested, man? Finally at 147, he's about to get tested. And
does he light a Porter up? Do you reckon?
I doubt it. I think it'll be in another close fight, and then I think would win 12-round decision. It'll be close, just like Spence fight.
Do you reckon? Do you think Porter's gonna put on a lot of do you think he's gonna rush
Pressure.
Crawford like he does?
Yeah. I think he's gonna be, he's gonna be like Joe Frazier, guys. He's gonna be putting a lot of pressure on him, and then
Yeah.
I think Crawford has a tendency to be to fight the other guy's fight sometimes. Like, so maybe he'll want to prove something and like get in exchanges, because he does that sometimes just to prove something. But like I think Porter he's an elite 147 like of today. I'm not saying all time, so I think it will be. I'll be very surprised if Crawford either wins all 12 or if he wins before 12.
Do you think he has to like prove a point? Do you think he has to prove a point that that he is the top dog by, like, if he knocks Porter out or if he beats him in dominating fight? No one's managed to do that. So do you think Crawford will try to prove a point in the fight?
I think that'll be his best. Obviously, that'll be amazing for his legacy. But I think he's just gonna. He should just win, and then because the last thing he wants to do is like try to make a point, and then like he falls short.
Yeah. I personally think that Porter might get picked apart here. I won't be surprised, because Porter is quite reckless when he comes forward against someone like Crawford, who's very fast of hands. I think Crawford might take him apart.
Yeah, I would have thought the same thing before I watched him and Spence fight, and I feel like Spence is like arguably number 1 and number 2, and if couldn't pick him apart, and then I don't think Crawford's gonna. And I think Shawn Porter is a lot like more physical and like bigger than Crawford, and then I just think he's gonna. I think Shawn Porter's best chance is to make it a rough and tough fight. Make him work for all like 3 minutes and all 12 rounds, because like I think that's the only way he's gonna win the fight. So I think he'll be able to do that at certain points of the fight, and I doubt Crawford's gonna be able to avoid Shawn Porter for all 12 rounds. But it'd be insane, because like, no one's ever done that.
So would this solidify Crawford as a pound for pound fight? How people have been talking about Crawford, that he doesn't deserve to be on pound for pound. He's been fighting average guys. He's not been fighting top fighters. This, that, and the other. Would this solidify that?
Yeah, I think if he beats him, it'll make him on the pound for pound list, but it's not gonna make him number 1. Yeah, like, there's a lot of other fighters that are like unifying. There's like they fought like so many good fights after good fights. This is just I think, in my opinion, Crawford has Gamboa under his belt, and then he unified division 140, and then this will be his second big like really good fight. Like really, this might be his like the best name on his. This will be the best name on his resume, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he wins, he should get the credit, but like I agree, it depends on how you win. Because like
I agree. If he beats him
well,
fight,
if it's a close fight, and like the decision is going to be disputed, I think they're just because he's one of the legacy a lot more. Because if he's in a fight where people are saying like he won and the other 50% people are saying he lost, then it's gonna be like he'll be where he is now. Like people won't give him the respect.
So you don't think Crawford's gonna stop him, or Crawford's gonna dominate him? You think it's gonna be a very, very close fight? Is that what?
Yeah, I think I'm leading. My opinion. I think it's gonna be a close, contested fight, and then I think Crawford should edge it out. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if Porter actually wins an ugly fight, if you know what I mean. Like,
you all right? Fair enough. You think that he might edge it out, Crawford, but you won't be surprised if Porter wins a a tight decision.
Yeah, but my official like decision might be like a close fight, and then Crawford's gonna win it.
Yeah,
It's not for me. It's not gonna be like it's not gonna be like. I really doubt he's gonna knock him out. That's just I'll be super surprised.
I think he can knock him out. I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, I think Crawford's got such great hand speed. And you know how you said that, you know, Spence, obviously Spence couldn't do it, and Spence is the best welterweight. Spence isn't as quick as Crawford. Spence is more mechanical. He's more robotic, he's slower. Crawford's very fast of hands. He's very fast of feet. He could catch he could catch Porter with a shot he doesn't see coming. And I just think it's a speed of Crawford that might be a problem for Porter, because Porter, like I said, is very reckless, you know, and I don't think Spence was quick enough.
Yeah.
You know, Spence throws more single shots. He doesn't really throw a lot of combinations. He throws a lot of shots to the body, but up top, he doesn't really throw a lot of combinations. Crawford's a lot faster, he does throw more combinations. So I think it's quite a tough fight for Porter style. And then the fact that Crawford also, he can fight southpaw and he can fight orthodox.
Yeah.
So Porter's not really.
Yeah, you're making good points, but I would say that like in my opinion, like Errol Spence is like the biggest. I think one of the biggest 147 pounders, and like he couldn't get his way in there, you know, like physically. So I think Shawn Porter will eventually close the distance, and then I'm sure like I'm not saying like he can't knock him down, like that might happen, but I would be extremely surprised if he knocks him out, if you know, like, or if he stops him.
Yeah.
But I still think like the safest bet will be a close fight, because like that's what Shawn Porter is known for. So I don't see, you know, like I don't see it any other way so far.
What did you make of the WBO? What did you make of the WBO sanction or ordering this fight? What did you make of them doing that? And then they're saying that if it does the fight, the deal can't be reached, it'll go to purse bids. What did you make of their decision by doing that?
Yeah, I think WBO is probably like they're trying to get their best champion to fight like a big fight, so they can also make some money. So they're probably getting fed up with like the same thing the fans are getting, because there's a business too, right? There's an organization. They need to make money. And if their best fighter isn't fighting good competition, they're not going to be able to make money. And I think, generally speaking, WBC is like the most honorable belt.
Then like WBO is not WBC.
I don't know. I'm saying in general, like WBC is like it probably holds the most prestige, and then WBO it probably is like not like as big as like the other belts. So they're trying to like make something happen, and if they have to force the issue, they're probably getting to the point where they need to do something with their best champion.
Fair enough. Steven, my man, how are you?
Yo, bro, I gotta leave. You guys all have a good day, okay?
All right, take care, EK. Take care. Have a good one. Take care.
Doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Can hear you. How you doing?
Doing good.
Porter, Crawford, it's done.
Steven,
it's done. Or not done. I take that back. Not done. But they're saying that obviously they've mandated Porter to fight Crawford. Steven, you must be really happy. We're all happy if this fight does get over the line, which I think it will now.
I'm extremely happy. Happy because this gives us, the boxing fans at large, and Terence Crawford himself, a chance to really validate his worth, and a chance to really, you know, for us to really stamp him as what we deem him to be, which is, arguably, 1 or 2 pound for pound in the world. Well, in my book, third pound for pound in the world. I got it behind Spence.
If he beats him in emphatic fashion, right? Where would you place him?
I'm still gonna put him third. I mean, listen, man, he can knock Shawn Porter's head off, but that's not gonna change the fact that Shawn Porter's already been beaten by Earl Spence, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
if Earl Spence Jr. beats Pac-Man, then you still gotta rate him over Terence Crawford.
Yeah, Stephen, just a quick one. You do know that most people don't rank Spence over Crawford. Like even the Ring magazine has Crawford #2. I'm not even sure if they rank him in the top 5.
Yeah, see that, but that's an indictment on there because they don't have a lot of top fighters in the pound for pound rankings. I don't think Tank Davis is in there. In my opinion, I think Tank you got to put Tank in there. You got to put Teofimo in there. I mean, there's a lot of
Tiafimo's in
fighters.
there. Tiafimo's
Oh,
in
he's
there.
in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but there's a lot of fighters that you would have to put in there. Anyways, and all those fighters
Yeah.
that you got to put in
Let,
there.
let me get it. Let me see what the top on it. The Ring magazine have top 10. Well, let me just Ring magazine top 10. You keep going, Stephen. You keep going.
Yeah, but that's not a telltale sign as to who's really doing what. I mean, I think we the boxing fans, we dictate who's fashionable, who's the best out there, because we're the
Mm,
ones that's really investing in these boxers and really, discussing it on a day-to-day basis. Ain't nobody showing these boxers love like we're doing, not the WBO, WBA, IBF and whoever else. It's us,
mm.
the boxing fans.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, man. I'd agree with you there. We're the ones that are giving, um, we're giving those guys a lot of, we give them a lot of props, man. We give them a lot. We give them
Yeah.
a lot of props. So here's the thing, man. What did you make of the WBO mandating Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter, or unless in the next 30 days they have to reach an agreement, or the fight goes to purse bids, or Terence Crawford vacates his WBO belt? What did you make of that stance from them?
Well, I mean, I may be a little bit contradictory or hypocritical in my statement because it seems like on one end of the spectrum, I just got done criticizing those boxing organizations, but I will say that they stepped up to the plate, and I think they're getting tired of these boxers sitting stagnant and just ruining the name of boxing. I think they got tired of Bud Crawford. They were like, man, look, man, you ain't fighting nobody. So we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna make you, because Shawn Porter, he's been campaigning for that fight for a long time. So basically what they said was that, listen, we got you ranked this high. Everybody is looking at you like the second coming of Muhammad Ali or whoever. You gotta fight these fights, man. You gotta fight a good fighter, and we're gonna make you fight Shawn Porter. It ain't gonna be no Cepedas, nobody like that. It's gonna be a real deal boxer.
Do you think this fight is better than him fighting Josh Taylor?
Oh yeah, I mean, with all due respect, I love Josh Taylor, but he's not the accomplished and seasoned boxer that Shawn Porter is. He's not built for Cuban links like Shawn Porter is. Shawn Porter is battle tested. He's been to the battlefields. He's beat the Devin Alexanders. You could argue that he was in a tough fight with Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia, he's beat those guys and he's still doing it. Ugas, you know what I'm saying? I had Ugas winning, but you get what I'm saying. Josh Taylor hasn't beat the level of competition that Shawn Porter has. And look, I hate to keep do it, but that's what you have to do in boxing. You have to compare resumes, and Shawn Porter is more seasoned than Josh Taylor.
Stephen, Josh Bonda
Yeah.
555 is saying no. Josh Taylor is a better fight. Come on, Imran, get a coffee down here. He's disagreeing with you there, Stephen. Bonda.
Nah, man, we get a lot of feedback for saying.
Hey,
Hey, Imran, how's it going?
What's up, Stephen?
What's up, man?
Imran, what's up, man?
No,
Can you
I'm
hear
just.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can hear you. One sec.
It's Chewy.
Nah, but
I'll come to you 1 second. I'll come to you just please.
Oh,
1 second.
okay,
Steve,
okay.
go on.
nah, whoever said that, man, I think that they're not really looking at things for what it should be looked at. Look, Shawn Porter, man, like it or love it, Shawn Porter has been around for a long time, and he's been in there with the best, the Kell Brooks of the world. The Earl Spence Juniors of the world. You can't get away from him. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that. Shawn Porter is a far better fighter at this point, as far as being battle tested, and a better fight for Terence Crawford than Josh Taylor. Now, I want you to answer this. Whoever posed that question, who has a better chance of beating Terence Crawford? Is it Shawn Porter or is it Josh Taylor?
You hit the
What would
nail
you
on the
say,
head there.
Durant?
You hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, I'd agree.
Mhm.
Porter, yeah. I don't think either. I don't personally think either of them beat him. But I think I would agree. Yes, especially at welterweight, Stephen. Taylor's never had a fight at welterweight, so yeah, I'd agree. I definitely agree with you there, Stephen.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. Just Weiss, how you going, man?
Hey, doing good, Imran. How you doing?
Good, man. Good, good. What do you make of this news, Porter, and Crawford? What do you think?
Man, that's a good fight. I'm really looking forward to watching the fight. I'm really excited. That's really good that the WBO ordered that fight. I mean, when I heard about it, I was so excited, and it's time for Crawford to really step up, and fight a good opponent, because his last fights haven't been, against good opponents. So this fight, man, this fight will definitely prove, if Crawford is in the top. I mean, he's obviously in the top pound for pound, but if he's like a real, a real threat to the welterweight division.
Yeah.
So
Stephen,
I'm really excited.
Go on, just please finish off. Go on.
Yeah, I'm really excited, man, for this fight. So I mean, and then what's good about it too is that when Spence fight Porter, Porter, that fight was a little bit close. I know that Spence won the fight, but imagine if Crawford beats Shawn Porter like in a fashion way, that will kind of get the Crawford and Spence fight more exciting, because when Spence fought Porter, it was kind of close. But imagine if Crawford beats him, in a fashion way, man, that would be, now the Crawford and Spence fight will be a huge fight, And of course, if he passes the test against Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao, man, he can still fight, even though he's like a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao, but an old version of Manny Pacquiao is still great.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Stephen, I'm going to come back to you, brother. Donda says Shawn Porter is a gatekeeper in the welterweight division. He goes, Josh Taylor has a better chance, for God's sake. Porter is a football player with no power, just activity. Mark my words, Porter gets stopped by Bud. Stephen.
No, I don't know if he gets stopped by Bud, man. I mean, again, I think you're undervaluing Shawn Porter and everything that he's tried to show you up until now. He's tried to show you that he's durable. He's more than just a brawler, because he has the ability to box. You can't undervalue him, and I think that's what you're doing.
He called him a football player, man. He called him a football player.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. And for him to even call him a gatekeeper, come on, man. He's earned that right to be elevated. To me, Josecito Lopez, he's like a gatekeeper. Or even I would say at this point, I would say Mikey Garcia is probably a gatekeeper at this point. Since
welterweight, I wouldn't say he's a gatekeeper at the lower weight classes. At welterweight, yes.
I'm talking strictly welterweight.
Yeah.
I think that Mikey Garcia can go back down to 140 and dominate. I think he could.
Yeah, I think yeah.
But as far as man, he's anything but a gatekeeper, man. I think these people, man, some of these people, man, they have their own biases, which I can dig it. I can understand that you got your own biases and everything, but man, it borders on the realm of delusion. You know, some of these people are delusional. To call Shawn Porter
Stephen,
a gay, go ahead.
Porter cannot box. He lost against Ugas trying to box. Let me ask you, Stephen, will Porter win another title? Mikey's a killer. You're nuts. Donda's going in, man. Donda's
Mikey,
going in.
yeah, Donda's going in, man. He's you know, listen, Donda, he be kicking that. He kicked the real shit. But I think he's a little off on this. I think Mikey's a killer, but he ain't a killer at 147. He ain't killing nobody at 147. And I think you know, I think Ugas won that fight too. But on paper, guess who won that fight? The guy you said was boxing that night. That's on paper. Shawn Porter has that W. Listen, Shawn Porter is beyond a gatekeeper. He's beyond just a run of the mill boxer. He's special. He's talented. He's been in there for a long time.
Stephen, yeah, Stephen making good points there about Porter. People just don't seem to like Porter. They think he's a gatekeeper. They think he's a guy that, you know, just comes out second best most times. But as Stephen said, Porter has got some very, very good. He has got some good wins. Myself, I've not been as high on Porter throughout. I think he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I've never viewed him. I've never viewed him as like elite in the elite bunch, but he's definitely a problem. And the thing is, right, if we're gonna say Spence is elite, right, that fight was razor thin, man. You know, how many people said that fight was a draw and, you know, Porter should have got it and this, that, and the other. You know, Eddie Atlas had that fight a draw. Do you know what I mean? So there was many people. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough with Porter. I don't know. Do you think he's elite, Stephen? Porter?
I don't think he's elite. I think he's top tier welterweight. Meaning that I think, you know, if you were to give me 5 welterweights right now, you'd absolutely have to include him in the top 5. So while he's not elite, to me, Errol Spence Jr. is elite. He's elite. But to me, Terence Crawford may prove to be elite. You know, to me, Keith Thurman is of them. I think Keith Thurman is elite. You know, but I don't think I got a call. Hold on 1 second.
No worries, man. So Jaswis, I'll come to you. 9 Timo Mansell, thanks for the super chat. I'm gonna come to you now. He basically says Porter is more battle tested at 147 than Bud. Come on, stop sleeping on Shawn. What do you make of that comment?
Well, that's a fact, actually. I mean, if you really look at it, that's a fact. The most proven fighter at 147 is definitely Shawn Porter. He's been there with Donnie Garcia, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. I mean, the guy has like great names on the welterweight division. Now the question is if he can defeat, you know, Crawford. I don't think he can beat Crawford. But I won't be surprised if it's a close fight. The fact that Shawn Porter, I mean, when he goes in the ring, he goes in with his, you know, he's prepared, man. He has controversial fights with Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. I mean, this guy's been fighting, you know, these great fighters, and it's been close fights. You know, the only fight that I see that he really lost was against Kell Brook. Kell Brook did really beat him in a fashion way, but these other 3 guys, no.
So 9 Timo Mansell says, I actually think Porter beats Bud for me. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. What do you make of that? Just
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think Crawford is just on another level. Like you said, Amrina, I saw your video thing yesterday. You said that Crawford is a special fighter, and Crawford is a special fighter. I mean, the guy can freaking fight. I mean, I've seen Crawford fight. He's very special. He can fight. The only thing is it's just that is getting on his way of becoming, maybe a Hall of Famer. Is the
Mm,
fact that he's just not getting the opportunity of fighting, those great welterweights. I mean, but
mm,
now it looks like he's fighting Shawn Porter. So
mm.
I mean, if Crawford can pass that test, man, definitely Crawford will be, I mean, I have him. I would say I have him like a number two. I think
Mm,
Canelo Alvarez is definitely number one, and then
mm.
Crawford number two. For me, in my opinion, but man, we will. I mean, let's see who will win the Crawford and Porter fight.
So OG MXBC says Crawford is gonna go life and death with Porter. What do you make of that? Do you think he's gonna go
That
life
might
and death?
happen. It might happen. Because like I said before, because of Porter, the close fights that Porter have had, you know. But like I said, it might happen. I don't think it might happen. I think Crawford has a good chance of outclassing him. Crawford, because you see the Kell Brook fight. Kell Brook is like a pure boxer. Kell Brook can freaking fight. He just the only
Mm,
thing that happened to him is when he went to fight Triple G, he was not never the same fighter anymore.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm,
so the fact that Kell Brook kind of beat Porter easy, that makes me think that Crawford can beat Porter easy as well. You know, it all depends on Porter. Maybe he can come in on 100% and maybe make it a good fight. That can happen, but we have to see. We have to see what happens. And every fighter has a bad night. Not everybody has every fighter has a bad night. Maybe Porter was not 100% in the Kell Brook fight. Maybe that it could be that, but I mean, I go based on facts. I go based on what I see. I don't go based on a belief. And what
mm.
I saw is that Kell Brook did beat Porter easy. So I think Crawford has a great chance of beating Porter easy as well.
XXS says Porter more tested than Bud at 147. Yeah, we'd
Yeah,
have
like I
to.
said before, it's that's a fact. That is true.
Mm, mm,
That can play a factor in the fight too as well.
yeah,
And then listen to, like, I don't know if you. I mean, when I saw the fight against Mean Machine, Crawford and
mm,
Mean Machine, it looks like Crawford got dropped. I think in the second round. So I mean, Crawford's chin,
mm.
maybe he's a little chinny,
Yeah,
Crawford. So
but
that's
Porter's
a
not a
that's a
power
weakness
puncher, is he?
maybe.
Porter don't. He's not a power puncher. He don't really punch very hard.
Oh, Porter, yeah. Yeah,
He's not a
Porter
big
Porter's
puncher.
not too much of a power puncher. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not. I don't really think he's that big a puncher. Like if it was Maidana, just Reese, then fair enough.
Oh man, yeah, Maidana can fight. I mean, it's too bad that he left the sport in early. I mean, he could have fought Errol Spence, he could have fought Shawn Porter. Imagine that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with you, man. That would have been that. Your Maidana was an absolute animal. You know that, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, man. I saw Maidana fight, man. I'm a big fan of Maidana. I remember when he fought Floyd. I mean, Floyd was the number one pound for pound, and
Yeah,
he literally gave Floyd a great fight. Both of
yeah,
the fights were great,
great
you
fight.
know.
He was a
Yeah.
monster,
So
man. He
yeah,
got.
and then what do you think about the Castaño and Charlo fight?
Yeah, I thought Castaño won that, man. 7-5.
Yeah, me too. I thought Castaño won that fight as well.
Don,
I think he
here's the
by a
thing.
little bit.
Don Dada makes a good point here, just Reese. Bud
Uh
is
huh.
battle tested. Bud is battle tested. He's been through 2 divisions. Bud has fought more decent competition, but no names. That's where the bias comes in. Can Porter beat Mean Machine?
Definitely. I think Porter can beat Mean Machine, but that, like I said, that can play a factor in the fight. The fact that Crawford he has not been really tested on the welterweight division. Like,
But
I
Don
mean,
Dada is
Crawford has
saying
not
he
been
has been
tested.
battle tested. He has been battle tested more than he's been battle tested. He's fought tougher guys than Porter, but they're just not named.
Okay, I see. Like for example, Mean Machine.
Yeah,
I mean, was the guy Benavides?
yeah.
He fought Benavides as well. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that can play a factor in the fight, But
What
overall,
about
if
the
I
lower
had to
weight
pick a
classes?
fighter, I would pick Crawford.
Yeah, in the low. So, salute to Ramiro. So, let's see what people are saying. It's Bob Arum. Is Bob Arum top rank that holds Bud Crawford back? In my opinion, is that true? Do you reckon? What Greg is saying.
What was that again?
He says Bob Arum top rank holds Bud Crawford back. Is that true?
Oh, back like he's protecting them.
Not protecting him, but like not getting him the big fights. Is that Bob Arum's
Oh,
fault?
Bob Armour's fault. I mean, man, I think so. I think Bob Arum is really. I mean, what I think is Bob Arum wants to make as much money as as he can, and I know that Crawford is not a big pay-per-view star, so that's the fact that really Bob Arum don't really care about Crawford to get him the big fights. The fact that Crawford doesn't sell,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
that is why Bob Arum really doesn't care. So I
Yeah.
mean that's
Business.
what I think. Yeah, so
So
business is business.
9 Timo Mansell, thanks for the super chat. It says, I go based on facts. 2, the Bud is special, but against who? His best fight was with Brooke.
Yeah, I
You
mean he did fought Gamboa in his prime.
yeah,
He did beat Gamboa in his prime.
yeah.
He was undisputed at 140. I
Hmm.
mean, what was the name? Postol. I think Postol he's a very
Postal,
good
yeah,
talented.
Postal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
Postal.
Postol. Yeah, very talented fighter. And I saw the fight when he fought Crawford, and Crawford outclassed him. So I mean, I mean, I believe Crawford he's a great fighter. He's just that on the welterweight division, he just doesn't have the great names on his resume.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
so Boxing Time says some people say Crawford's best fight at 147 is against Khan. That was obviously Amir Khan was way past his best when he fought Terence
yeah,
Crawford. So that wasn't really that would have been good like 10 years ago, right?
yeah. Like 10 years ago, I
Yeah,
remember when Amir Khan beat Barrera.
yeah. That was I think when he beat Maidana, that was when he was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a fight, man. That would have been a good
Mhm.
fight then, man, but when he fought Crawford, man, it was too late. Prime. So let's talk about what people are saying. So Porter OG says Porter makes everyone look bad.
Yeah, except for Kell Brook.
Yeah. Bernie Mac says, okay, so no 1 minute. Bernie Mac says Kell Brook broke his face against GGG. Then Errol Spence used that blueprint. That fight didn't count. Porter has a chance to drop Bud.
Ah,
So do you
Porter
think
has a chance
after
to drop that.
GGG, after he broke Kell Brook's face, do you think Kell Brook was never the same after that? So do you think the Errol Spence fight counts when Errol Spence beat him?
Oh yeah, that I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, that Errol Spence against Kell Brook didn't counted as a big victory because the
Yeah.
fact that Triple G broke him, you know,
Mm,
I mean he was already a broken fighter. Kell Brook.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what basically I think. It's like Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo as well. I don't think Billy
Mm,
Joe Saunders is gonna be the same fighter from now on. It's
yeah.
it's yeah, I don't think he's gonna be the same fighter. So I mean, I give Errol Spence the credit when he fought Shawn Porter. I believe he did beat Shawn Porter. He definitely beat Danny Garcia as well in a better fashion way than any other fighter has beaten him. You know, so
Yeah.
so yeah, I will give him credit for those victories. And I also have Errol Spence in my top 5 pound for pound. I mean, the guy is literally fighting the best fighters at welterweight. So why not? You know.
Yeah, I'd give you. So what does Rohit say? There is a big difference. Porter fought Prime Brook, and Crawford fought washed up Brook. Porter fought Prime Brook, and yeah, you could make that argument.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I mean, and I don't know why they put the fight in the pay-per-view. I don't think that was a pay-per-view fight when Kell Brook fought Crawford. But oh well.
Yeah, I know. What Crawford and Kell Brook wasn't pay-per-view. It was on regular.
Oh, okay. I thought he was on pay-per-view. I think the Amir Khan and Crawford was on pay-per-view, right?
Yeah. That was pay-per-view. Yeah, that was pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was because of Khan's. That was because of Khan's name. Do you know what I mean? They thought they could.
Because Amir Khan is a good name.
Hey.
Yeah, Amir Khan is a big name.
Yeah, that's why they tried to use that, but it still didn't work because it was only 150,000 pay-per-view buys, which is crazy because you know Bud's first pay-per-view was against Postal, right? And it did 50,000.
Oh wow! Oh man, that's little.
That's bad. And the Amir Khan fight did 150,000, which is more respectable, of course.
Yeah, it is.
But the thing is, like, obviously, like you'd expect it to be even more, you know. But still, how much of that was down to Terence Crawford, that 150,000, because all of his other fights have been on non-pay-per-view after that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But the fight that I really want to see so bad, man, is the Crawford against Spence. I want to see that fight so bad, man. And hopefully, you know, Errol Spence beat Pacquiao, but because Pacquiao is no walk in the park, man. Manny Pacquiao, old version, is still a great fighter.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, man.
You know, it's a 50-50 fight for me, actually. I just give the edge to Errol Spence because he is in his prime.
So, Stephen, back to where we were about Porter and Crawford. Jaswis has made some really good points while you were away. Basically, so some people are saying that Porter's a great fighter. Some people saying Bob Arum's the one that's held Crawford back. Some people saying that, you know, Porter's not an elite fighter. He's a gatekeeper, this, that, and the other. So what's your views on what people are having to say?
You know, like I said earlier, man, I think everybody has their own rendition or, you know, interpretation of who's authentic, who's not battle tested, who's overhyped, and so forth. Me per se, when it comes to, let's just say Crawford, okay, let's break him down. For anybody that, if I'm going to be liberal and I'm going to be understanding about, someone's perspective, if they were to tell me that, look, I like Crawford, but he ain't battle tested, he ain't no killer, and I say why? It's because Crawford, he ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody since what? Since he was at 140. Because really, to be honest with you, those guys that he's beating at welterweight, man, aside from Kavalauskas, I really don't give him a lot of kudos for beating these guys.
You don't give him kudos for Jeff Horn.
No, hell no. Jeff, now you want to talk about a football player? Jeff Horn is a MMA / football player.
Did he not Pacquiao, Stephen?
Man, he didn't beat him. Man, that was the robbery of the century. Pacquiao. Now, what you can say is that if there's any fighter that's been robbed the most in history, it's probably Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He's been robbed a lot, man.
Yeah, Bradley fight and the Horn fight.
Yep.
Yeah. That's robberies, man. Big time robberies.
Yep.
I have a question for Stinson.
Go on, Jaswis.
Do you think if Crawford beats Porter in a fashion way, will you put him like maybe on your top 3 pound for pound list? I don't know if you have him in your pound for pound list. You give him credit for that, like huge credit.
Yeah, I'm gonna give credit, but I ain't gonna put him over. I can't put him over Errol Spence. I don't. You know, like I
Errol
said,
Spence.
I don't care if he. I don't care if Terence Crawford, if he punches a hole through Shawn Porter's chest like Raiden or somebody off of Mortal Kombat, he still ain't getting put over Earl Spence to me, because Earl Spence already beat Shawn Porter. You know, he's beating the better competition.
Yeah, definitely. And the way he beat Garcia and Errol Spence.
Yeah, where's
That
the
was a
sweet?
shutout.
He's
I know what he was gonna say. The way that he beat Garcia and Danny Garcia, those were brilliant displays of just a physically dominant, just gangster killer in there, just shutting them down, just breaking them down, just coming full throttle. Nothing could stop him. He was all the way up.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. I'd agree with you there. Brendan, how are you?
Man, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Good, man. We're all good. Steven,
What's good? What's good, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
Brendan, Porter, Crawford. What do you make of it?
I'm sitting here watching Spence and versus Porter right now, and I'm thinking about the fight, and I'm thinking about how strong Crawford is, even though he don't really look that strong. But man, the way he did Kell Brook and was snapping his head back, the angles that he takes, and like he just slept on. Crawford is a little bit slept on as far as skills, but I feel like Porter slept on too because, like everybody's been saying, he gives everybody besides, I guess, Kell Brook, because he handled it the easiest, but still, he gives everybody a tough fight. So I think this fight is more of a pick-up fight than any of the fights, big fights coming up in the next couple of months.
Yeah, it is. It is. Would you say this is a harder fight for Crawford than Spence Pacquiao? What's the harder fight?
Would it be a harder fight for? All right, so who? Say that one more time.
So who's got the harder fight, Spence or Crawford?
Okay, Spencer Crawford. I honestly think that. That's a tough one. But if you had a gun up to my head, I would have to say that Spence probably has it easy. He probably has it easy, just because of Pacquiao. We're banking, as far as me, because even though I do think that Pacquiao will lose the fight, I think that his chances of winning are even better. That if he comes into the fight with just a ridiculous amount of endurance, because you see what he can do to somebody early. That's an undefeated high level welterweight. You saw that with Keith Thurman, right? But as we saw in the later rounds, like probably after round 6 all the way to the bell. Besides that body shot that helped turn things around, Keith Thurman was working Manny Pacquiao. He was working those around. So, and in Terence Crawford's case, for the simple fact that Porter gave Spence such a hard time in their fight, and everybody's on the who's who about who's gonna win between Spence and Crawford, and I don't know. We have to see these fights. I have to see those fights first especially before I can decide on who could even win between Errol Spence and Terence Bud Crawford. They got to hurry up and get these fights out the way. That's all I got for that.
You made some good points there, Brendan. Steven, I'm gonna come back to you. Steven, if Usyk beats Anthony Joshua, right? Would you have to place him number 1 pound for pound after being an undisputed cruiserweight champion and then becoming a unified heavyweight champion?
Well, I mean, okay, hypothetically speaking, I don't see him, just for the sake of what you're saying.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't see him beating AJ.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if that was to happen, Yeah, you got to put him. You got to put him. You got to put him up there pound for pound.
What, even
You,
above Canelo?
even above who?
Canelo.
I mean that's
Tough
that's
one,
tough
eh?
because it seems like Usyk would have beat better competition. Joe Joyce he's better than anybody that Canelo's fought. You know,
Yeah.
so me personally, I probably would say yeah.
Wow.
I probably put
A
him
lot of
over
people,
Canelo.
a lot of people were having a dig at me. I don't know if you saw my latest video. I said if Usyk beats Canelo, if Usyk beats Joshua, he's got a case for being the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. Because how many cruiserweight go up to heavyweight and become a champion, let alone becoming a champion, becoming a unified champion, then beating one of the top guys there? Remember, Usyk is a lot smaller than Joshua, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think, man, a lot of times, I think in boxing, man, I think people have the tendency to go with what the popular opinion is, and we really don't put a lot of thought and a lot of consideration into the fighters that we elevate and we exalt. You know what I'm saying? Usyk is a killer, man.
Definitely, he is, man. He is. He's a great fighter. I'd have to agree. Brendan, what do you think?
I know we're talking about AJ versus Usyk, but like, what's the initial question about it? Like, does his place on the pound for pound list
Yeah,
go
if he
up?
beats Joshua, where would he play? Where would you place him?
Not
Where
about Canelo.
I would, I mean, because we're only going from cruiserweight to heavyweight. There's no more weight class he can go in. AJ is. I mean, say what you want to say about the quality of the heavyweight era right now. Like, still within this era, AJ has the best resume. And if Usyk, who took the cruiserweight division by storm like he did, actually moves up and beats the one heavyweight with the best body of work right now, it's only logical to say that like he has to be like isn't the heavyweight champion of the world pound for pound because nobody else can beat him. Like,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a big guy, what's the saying? A big guy is always going to be a small guy, a little guy.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's relevant into but I don't see Usyk beating AJ. What do you think, Imran?
I don't know, man. It's a tough one for me because I think he can. I know you don't think, and I know Ray also didn't think that he could beat him, but I think he can. I'm not saying he will beat him, but I have it like a lot closer than what people have it. I have it like a 55-45 kind of fight. I think Usyk's got the skills, man. Usyk's really good, man. He's got great footwork. He's got great hand speed. He's got great defense. Yeah, man. That's
I think it depends on how, because we basically have AJ 2.0. We got an AJ that's boxing, using his jab, using his feet and stuff. But so I think that if AJ can come to the fight with the best combination of using his feet and using his jab and knowing how to sit down, like the moments to sit down on his punches and throw his combinations, his hooks and uppercuts, I think that that he could surprise us, because you know how Teofimo surprised the world by outboxing Lomachenko. If Anthony puts everything together, he could do something with Usyk, but that's still not to say that Usyk probably, in my opinion, Usyk is the best boxer right now in the heavyweight division. Only other person that you could even speak of in the same breath with him is Tyson Fury. So yeah, like going all the way back, like if Usyk does pull it off, which I'm with Imran on it, it's just as much of a close fight as I think that Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford is. So if Usyk can pull it off, which I think his skills could help him do it, it has to be like without a doubt one of the best.
guys.
Will I put him on the pound for pound list?
Go on, just Reese.
Will I put him on top of Canelo though if he beats Joshua?
Yes. Would you put him ahead of Joshua? Would you put him ahead of Canelo, Jesus?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Usyk, if he beats Joshua above Canelo, no, I think Canelo has become a world champion. I mean, he's definitely a world champion in 4 different weight classes, and and he's just only going to be champion in 2 weight classes. So maybe because of that, I would say no. I mean, Canelo has definitely fought the best. If you look at his resume, man, it's just crazy. All the fighters that Canelo has fought, I mean, because of that, I don't think I will put him above Canelo, Usyk. But if he beats Joshua, I'll definitely put him like in number 3.
So
What's the
let me
somewhere there.
guys, let me
I'm
one
sorry.
second, guys. Let me just confirm what Steven said. A lot of you are saying in the comment section that Steven said that Canelo hasn't fought anyone as good as Joyce. He meant Canelo hasn't fought his recent opponents weren't as good as anyone as Joshua, not Joyce. So he meant to say Joshua because he was driving. I think he said Joyce by mistake. So he didn't say Joyce. He meant Joshua. So just to clear that up, right?
Yeah.
Stephen, back to you a
Yes,
sec. Just made a point there. He just said Canelo right now, he's got a really thick resume. He's basically fought Callum Smith in December. He fought Yildirim in February, Billy Joe in May, and then he's gonna fight Caleb Plant in September. Can you argue that he's cleaned out a division in 10 months? No one's doing that.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And you know what? I'll be a fool to neglect to acknowledge that. That's a phenomenal feat. I'm not saying that I ain't never said that Canelo was a sucker. He ain't no killer. Canelo he's a number 1 pound for pound, killer out there right now. I think he is. In my opinion, right now, I think he is. Your mileage may vary, but I think Canelo's pound for pound greatest right now out there. But if Usyk if he can beat Anthony Joshua,
Yeah,
man, that's a phenomenal feat, man.
yeah, I'd have to agree. You're talking about when people say pound for pound. You do know, right, that Usyk moving up, right, would be a bigger weight jump than Canelo probably moving up those 4 weight divisions. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Canelo fighting Joshua is like probably 50 pounds heavier than him walking around. Usyk's not that. Cruiserweight's 200 pounds. Joshua's 250 pounds.
Yeah.
It'd be a different conversation if Bridgerweight was like a thing for like the past couple of years, because I feel like Usyk could definitely go up there first.
Well, Bridgerweight above. Yeah.
But besides the point.
Yeah. But the thing is, the weight jump, people talk pound for pound. Pound for pound is about weight jump, right? Cruiserweight can't make light heavyweight, can he? So the jump from cruiserweight to heavyweight is massive. We're talking about you being 6'3", fighting 6'7" guys. Do you know what I mean? So like you have to look at it in proportion, the weight jump, right? Canelo's fighting guys that are probably a couple inches chat. Those lower weight classes makes a difference. But Usyk's fighting a guy that almost dwarfs him, and size-wise is huge compared to him. So I just don't know. People need to bear that into it. Like, let's not forget, Canelo has beaten everybody in the weight classes that he should be beaten. Nobody's saying Billy Joe's going to beat Canelo. No one's saying John's going to beat Canelo. Nobody's saying Callum Smith's going to beat Canelo. But everybody's saying Joshua's going to beat Usyk. He's a massive underdog in the fight as well. So surely that should come into it as well.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It's a lot of people out there on that dope. Gotta leave that dope alone.
Yeah.
When you're on that dope, you don't think straight. Alone.
Yeah.
I just went.
Yeah.
Mike, good to have you on, man. What do you make of it? Firstly, I want to ask your opinion. Or ask you guys, Porter, Terence, Crawford. It looks like we've got that fight. What do you make of it, guys?
I love that fight. That's a perfect fight for Crawford. I think it's going to show how good he really is. And see, I feel like I've been a bit mean on Crawford lately. And I think he's going to win it. I think he's going to show how good he is because obviously I've been following the sport for ages now, and I know who is a good fighter and who isn't. And Crawford, he is special. He definitely is special.
Does he stop him, Mackay?
Does he stop him? I don't think he can maybe put him down. I mean, because he's good at time and stuff. I mean, Broner done it to him. It's Spence done it to him. I think he can do that, but I don't think he's going to stop him. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Can he dominate him?
I don't think he's not going to dominate him. It's going to be a bit like the Spence Porter fight. Obviously, Crawford's going to get him on the back foot and all because I think Crawford's really good at fighting on the back foot. But I think he's going to do a better job than Spence. That's for sure. Yeah.
Mike, your opinion?
I agree with Mackay. Same thing, pretty much. I don't think. Has anyone ever stopped Porter?
No, never.
I don't think so, right? Yeah. So I don't think Crawford's going to stop him. If he stops him, that's impressive. That's going to be impressive because I think Porter's going to be his toughest match of his career.
He's been dropped before though, a couple of times.
Yeah, he's been dropped, but he hasn't been stopped. He's a pretty durable guy. He's a strong dude, so I don't see it. It would have to be a massive beating, an accumulation. I'm not sure he could do it with one punch. So you would have to dominate him completely to stop him. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Do you think this is the fight that Crawford needed for all those years that people have been crying out for?
Yeah, this is oh, sorry, you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is going to be his toughest opponent in his career. I think Porter's going to be tougher than Posto. He's going to be tougher than Gamboa, which are the two guys that the majority of people think are his best opponents. I think he's going to be tougher than both those guys.
Yeah. So if he wins, where would that place him pound for pound, Mackay and Mike?
I don't really do pound for pound, so I can't really
I don't think maybe he moves to second. Maybe, I don't know where he's at right now. Is he second, third? I think he stays around the same. I don't think that's enough to go for anyone to put him number one pound for pound.
Yeah, no. Mike, I'm not going to start a war between. Do you think Crawford's a better pound for pound? Like Stephen has Spence ahead of Crawford in the pound for pound list. Is that yours? Do you think the same, or do you disagree with that?
He has Stephen has Spence above
ahead.
Crawford.
Yeah, ahead of Crawford. Yeah,
I can agree with that. I can agree with that, but I understand that. Mike. No, I for real. I mean, I'm not even trying to be a nice guy here. I mean, I just think that Spence, the level of opposition that he's faced is clearly better than what Crawford has faced. The thing with Crawford, though, is that the hype with Crawford is based mostly on being undisputed, which is great. It's a great accomplishment, but we also have to look at, it's a big difference if you're undisputed and you face two Hall of Famers in that reign compared to, let's say, you're undisputed, but you face three guys who are not going to be Hall of Famers, or maybe not even forget all-time greats or anything like that. So the difficulty is what I look at, like who did you fight? How hard was the task? That's what I look for, because as far as undisputed, it's a great accomplishment, but I mean, we're seeing more guys in today's age. We're seeing more guys who are having it's easier to get more belts. It's easier to become multiple division champion. So it's not the same. So we have to kind of look at that from a different perspective. So I give Crawford his props for what he's achieved. 3 division champ, undisputed and all, but I haven't seen him in the ring with a pound for pound top 10, top 15 fighter.
Undisputed.
You don't think Gamboa was top? You don't think Gamboa was a pound for pound fighter when he fought him back then?
No, the thing about that fight that I don't like, that I always argue, is that Gamboa was not a lightweight. He was not a lightweight. He started as a featherweight. He started as a featherweight, went to super featherweight, then moved to lightweight to fight Crawford. He's never done anything at lightweight. He's had no success at lightweight. He's never been a lightweight. And if you saw the fight, if you saw him in the ring, I mean, no offense, but Gamboa looked like a midget, man. He looked like a midget compared to Crawford, bro. Like the size difference was massive. You know, it wasn't not massive as in like in terms of weight, but just overall structure, size, height, everything. That was a much tougher fight for Gamboa than it was for Crawford. Gamboa is still a lightweight right now, and Crawford's already at welterweight. So imagine.
And Gamboa is a small lightweight as well. Really?
He's clearly smaller. He's way like Gamboa was maxing out at lightweight, and Crawford was starting off as a lightweight, you could say. So there's a huge gap between size right there.
Yeah, Gamboa was he smaller than Tank when they fought.
Yeah, he's a featherweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a featherweight. He started at 126. So this is the first time, going back to the whole Porter thing, this is the first time where I'm going to see Crawford in the ring with someone that's naturally bigger than him. Who's naturally bigger than him, probably naturally stronger than him too, heavier than him. He just doesn't have Crawford's skill. He doesn't have Crawford's overall skill set and, you know, overall abilities. But I think size matters. That's why there's weight classes, and that's why guys tend to stick in certain weight classes. They don't move, or they wait when to move, or they pick their spots when to move, because they always want to have a physical advantage when it comes to boxing. So they don't want to give up any physical advantages. So this is the first time I'm hoping the fight happens, and this is the first time where we're going to see. I think where Crawford's going to be tested 100%. And I think this version of Porter, I know you brought up a point, Imran, where you feel that Porter might be declining. I'm not so sure, man, because I think that his best performance was with Errol Spence, in my opinion. Even though he lost.
A lot out of him, I reckon, man. That fight was tough. And then he's had a lot of tough fights in his career, man. He's had a lot of tough fights, Porter. He's had a lot of hard, grueling fights, like, you know, early on. I'm not even talking about like now. I'm talking about like Julio Diaz, you know, back in the day. I'm talking 10 years ago, right? And he had a draw with him. That was a tough fight. Then, you know, we talk about Devin Alexander. That wasn't an easy fight. Then we talk about Kell Brook. That was a tough fight. Then we talk about Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. They were tough, hard fights. He took a lot of punishment in those fights. Then Errol Spence, he took a lot of punishment in that fight. So I agree. Man. I don't know whether this is a very fresh fighter, Mike, to be honest with you, at all.
I agree, but wouldn't you want to see something first before thinking that maybe he's declining? Because if he had all those fights, all those tough fights, and then he performed the way he performed versus Errol Spence, then that kind of tells me that he's still strong. I mean, this guy's a durable guy.
But the thing is, Mike, that Errol Spence fight was a while back now. We're talking about 2018, 2019 now. You know, that was
he's only had one fight after that. So I
that's
don't know.
The other thing as well. He's been very inactive. And that was against, and even that fight, he didn't like that. Yeah, I don't know.
So you think inactivity is going to play a role? Inactivity.
Crawford's been very inactive, and I think he's probably going to be declining. It's not like Crawford's going to be getting any better.
But the thing is,
they're both 33.
He's fresh.
They're both the same age. Yeah.
Crawford's more fresh because Porter's been in wars. Porter's fought with good fighters.
You just nailed it.
Yeah.
So miles on the clock. Crawford's the fresher fighter. He's not had the wars. He's not had the tough fights. He's not been put down. He's not had close fights where he's lost. And I feel like Porter's had a lot of tough fights, a lot of wars, and I just feel like at time there'll be a time when you have those kind of fights that there'll be a time when you go to the well and you ain't got it anymore. And I don't know whether this might be wrong. And then that as well, not just that, stylistically, I think Crawford's all wrong. He's faster than Porter. He's faster than anyone that Porter's fought. fastest hands. He's got Crawford also throws punches that you don't see coming. He's very, very fast. So I think he could time Porter. I just don't think stylistically it's the right match.
You don't see Porter being able to. You don't see Porter being able to perform with in a similar fashion or with a game plan, kind of like what Maidana did to Mayweather.
Possibly, I'm not. I just think Mayweather was a lot more. I think Mayweather's a lot more defensive. I think Crawford's a lot more aggressive and he can pick you apart and he batters you. Like he's very offensive when he wants to. I just don't know stylistically with the fact that he can switch from southpaw to orthodox. I just think I don't like. I personally think he'll take him apart. To be honest with you,
I think it's a very similar. That's a good analogy. Maidana, Floyd. I think that's a very, very. If you wanted to make a logical comparison, it would be that one because like you said, Shawn Porter, he's gonna push Terence Crawford, and one thing we know about Terence Crawford is that his chin is suspect. Yeah, and
for sure.
Here's the thing, though, Stephen. Let me come in there a second. You said Maidana, Mayweather. Maidana's a big puncher. Porter's not a big puncher.
Well, I was going to get to that. Yeah. Wow, I don't think that Shawn Porter is a George Foreman, Mike Tyson type of puncher. I think his volume can overwhelm somebody who's chinny, and he might. And Terence Crawford, because see, this is what Terence Crawford does. If you punch Terence Crawford, he's gonna punch you 5 times. He's gonna resort to dogging it out. And once he turns into a dog with a fighter like Shawn Porter, the possibilities are, open greatly for for us to see Bud Crawford get hit with something that he didn't see.
Right.
So it's a pickle fight, man.
That's the thing. That's what's intriguing about this fight is that there's so much that we're making a bunch of assumptions. We're trying to project and guess, a lot of guessing, because this is the first time where we've seen Crawford in the ring with a top welterweight. So we don't have anything to go based on. We don't have a good feel for Crawford in the welterweight class, as far as him facing elite fighters. If we had already seen him with a Danny Garcia, if we had already seen him with someone else, then it's easier to gauge. Even in a matchup against Errol Spence, it would be easier to gauge. But we're doing a lot of guessing here because I have no idea. What Steven said is 100% true. How the hell do we know that if a Porter cracks him and he cracks him good, that he can't hurt Crawford? Because we've seen Crawford get hurt.
But a little Gamboa as well. Crawford's a lot bigger.
Right. We've seen Crawford get hurt. Crawford doesn't come off to me as a guy who's got an iron chin. And here's another thing too. Even though Porter is not a big puncher, he's a strong. He's a part of the reason why I don't think he's a big puncher is because his technical abilities aren't that great. Technique plays a huge role in how your power translates. If you have great technique, your power is going to do. It's going to be easier for you to do damage. You look at a guy like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not a guy who's going to knock you out with one punch. But when he lands hurtful punches every time because his technique is crisp. So he's accurate, and when he hits you right on the spot. Porter's not a technician, but I think he's got power. He's just not, like I said, a technical fighter. And Maidana, even though we're using the comparison to Maidana, I think Maidana's power at 147 was somewhat overrated. I think he was more powerful at 140. Everything below that, he fought Eric Morales. He fought Eric Morales, bro, a fat, past prime Eric Morales with one eye. And he could not stop. He was not able to stop Eric Morales. Yet Danny Garcia was able to stop Eric Morales. So it's not. I'm not 100% certain that a Porter can't hurt a Crawford. I think he can, and I think he could bully him. Probably. That's
Listen to Mike.
Look at the fight.
Listen to Mike, guys. Listen.
Look at the fight Maidana had with Broner. He literally ragdolled Broner. And look at the fight that Porter had with Broner. Porter even got dropped in that fight against Broner.
Yeah, but Porter, he was dominating Broner, and then he just got caught.
But he got
he was getting too confident. Yeah. Maidana is definitely a lot more powerful than Porter, that's for sure.
But Imran, name one fight of the biggest fights that Broner had. Which one did he win? He lost them all. He lost them all. He never won. He never won any of his big fights, bro. Never.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. But what I mean is I'm comparing performance because you were talking about power. So what I was saying was I think Maidana's a bigger puncher than Porter. I know what you're saying about. I don't think Porter's a big puncher at all. This is a guy that's gone 12 rounds with journeyman, man. Look, Phil LaGreco, who we know here in the UK for fighting Amir Khan. Amir Khan knocked Phil LaGreco out in 50 seconds. Phil LaGreco went the distance with Shawn Porter, and he's never really stopped anyone. Porter's not stopped anyone at welterweight either.
Pound for pound, I agree with you. Pound for pound, Maidana, like as far as like up and down weight classes, Maidana has more power than Porter. But Porter, I think him being a big ass welterweight, because Porter could fight at 154 easy.
He did fight at 154. He fought at 154 in the Olympics.
Okay, well there it is. I mean, that dude's he's a football player, bro.
He's a football player.
Massive, man. Like if you compare him to Jamel or Jarrett Hurd, he's small, man.
Yeah. Of course, compared to those guys for sure. But Jermel could even go even higher than 154. He could fight at 160. But I'm saying when we look at other 154s, we saw Cotto at 154. You know, we've seen guys that are not that big who weight wise,
but Cotto
are pretty solid.
Cotto was very skilled. Like Porter's not skilled like Cotto.
I think people underestimate Porter. People seem to think Porter's just a guy who comes forward as a punching bag. I've seen improvements actually from Porter.
I agree.
His footwork and all. He's always moving. He's still moving his head. He's not exactly like just a guy who's coming forward that's going to get pieced up. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Porter would beat Crawford. I mean, Crawford, he's been in such a comfortable environment now where he's had I'd say easy fights. When everyone knows he's going to win it, he hasn't really had the challenge. And then Porter, he's going to bring out something Crawford's never seen in a pro fight, and it could get to him. I mean, Porter does that a lot. People need to look at the Spence fight. Everyone was saying Spence was going to stop Porter. He was going to dominate him, and then look what happened. He even rocked Spence. In the late rounds.
And again, I think what we're forgetting is it's all about styles. You know, the styles that make fights and the strategy. It's not, we made the comparison that I was making a comparison based on Maidana and Shawn Porter's work rate is similar, but they're actually. I think Shawn Porter is a lot more calculated. He's a lot more precise, and it's a lot more method to his madness than Maidana was just kind of like a slugger. I'm gonna go for the gusto, knock you out type of thing. So I think we have to be mindful, keep that in mind when we try to figure out, or we try to guesstimate who's gonna be the victor, what weaknesses we have, and everything else. Shawn Porter is a lot more. He looks like a wild man.
Shawn Porter tries to think. The problem is the problem with that is that his technique is terrible, bro. But he's actually tries to think inside the ring. But I think here's another key in my opinion. We have to remember, man, who Shawn Porter's fought. Right? He's fought Devin Alexander, Julio Diaz, Paulie Malignaggi, Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence. We're talking about a guy who has a shitload of experience, bro. A shitload of experience.
Crawford's never seen before. Crawford's never seen fight like that, because as I said, he's been so comfortable fighting guys he can easily beat, and it could take him in for a shock. We've seen it happen before.
Mike,
right. Like I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna
you.
go as far as to say. I'm not gonna go as far as to say that I'm gonna take Porter over Crawford, because I just can't see Crawford losing. I can't see Crawford losing. If Crawford loses, his career's over, bro.
Crawford's
All that pound for
definitely
pound
the
shit,
favorite.
it's over.
Yeah.
Mike, I got a question for you. Don Dada got a question. He's been on Steven, now he's on you. He's basically saying, Mike, don't compare Porter to Cotto. Don't compare.
No. But I mean, I wouldn't even. That's ridiculous, man. I would never compare Cotto. I was comparing them as far as the size. I was just talking about like the fact that Cotto's a small dude, you know, and he was able to move up to 154. He was able to fight at 154 because his weight took him there. Like there's some guys that their metabolism physiologically, they're not going to be able to make weight in a certain weight class, and they're going to be undersized, and they're going to be forced to go up in weight. You know, like Canelo Alvarez is a good example. Canelo Alvarez, you look at his mom, you look at his genetics. His mom is a thick-set woman, right? So if you look at his structure, if you look at his height, you would think that Canelo probably belongs as a fucking welterweight, since he's 5'8" with a 70 inch. But the fact that he's a heavy set guy, he's the thick guy, he's being forced to fight in these heavier weight classes, and he has to deal with this shit, right? So Cotto was one of those guys who's only 5'7", he had T-Rex arms, and he was fighting at 154, even middleweight at one point, right? Or at least catch weights at middleweight. So I look at Porter as a similar type of body or build, you know, where I mean, how much you guys think Porter weighs when he's not fighting? I mean, that dude is at least 170. He has to be at least 170.
Yeah.
He stays in the gym.
Yeah, Brendan, what are you making of these comments?
I think, you know, when guy, I forget which one of the M's it was.
Mike.
Hey, throughout the duration of the live stream, I've actually been watching Shawn Porter fight Errol Spence, and now I'm watching his last fight versus Formella. And yeah, I think honestly, Terence Crawford is probably going to be able to take advantage of a lot of the lapses in Shawn Porter's defense, because he does rush in. Sometimes, like you just clearly see him come in with his head down, and I feel like Terence Crawford is like he's able to capitalize on people like taking their eyes off of him, like while they're, you know, initiating their offense. And I got a feeling he's gonna be catching Porter with like some nasty stuff. Like this guy Formella right now, we're in round 3, and you know, a lot of the things that I just touched up on, I'm seeing it now. You know, and this is his last fight, and yeah, his punching power really is not there, because he doesn't really sit down on a lot of his punches, and he's all like, it's his head. He's like a football player, like a lot of people used to say. It's kind of crazy, but with that being said,
You know why
you said no. I still believe that he's going to make it a rough and tough fight regardless. Like, and even despite what I just said. Porter is using his feet like a lot more. He's using his feet. He's not strictly coming in like a football player. Like, he's looking a tad bit different than when he was fighting Errol Spence. But I think that Crawford probably
You know why why everybody's saying Castano won that fight? You know, with Jamil. Everybody's saying it because of the work rate. His work rate was twice that of Jamel Charlo. Jamel Charlo actually hurt Castano more times than Castano hurt him. But we say that Castano will fight because of work rate. If Shawn Porter goes in there and he pours it on him and he bewilders Terence Crawford and takes him to places that he's never been, everybody's gonna say that Shawn Porter won that fight. Just like Mike was saying.
With Terence Crawford, This is my thing with Terence Crawford. I feel like out of all the welterweights, that if I'm talking about all of them too, if he gets you hurt and finds your chin, which he will at some point throughout the 12-round duration, it's more dangerous if he gets you hurt out of anybody else. And
Yeah, he's a
that's what I'm saying. I
devastating
don't think
finisher.
That's a good
no,
point.
that was it. That was it. But yeah. I feel like that if he gets you hurt, it's gonna go bad quick more than any other fighter at welterweight. And that's the killer thing about Terence Crawford to me. And if you have any lapse in defense, he's going to exploit that and find angles and things like that. Like what he did to Kell Brook. Like Kell Brook was pretty. Yeah, of course we know it wasn't the Kell Brook as before. He'd been broken by Triple G and broken again by Errol Spence. But you know he still showed up and whatnot, and he was still big and and he looked to be in shape. Just the way Crawford just went in after he found what he was looking for. He was able to just it's just crazy. He's the best finisher in the division, the best finisher, and don't let him.
Yeah, he's the best finisher. He's the best finisher, but when they fight, I can assure you that Terence Crawford will have not have seen anybody like he had in Shawn Porter. He's gonna be like he's gonna be like the seeing Jesus
right
when they fight. He ain't seen nobody.
Here's
like
the thing too.
Here's
the thing too, Steven. You brought up a good point. The activity for Porter's going to be the key, and this is the thing though, that Crawford, because of the position that he's in and the hype that he has, Porter doesn't actually have to beat Crawford for people to view him as the winner. That's the thing, because what people want to see is they want to see Crawford look bad. So Crawford is almost forced to look spectacular. He has to look spectacular, because if it's a competitive fight and if it's a close fight, even if Crawford wins the fight, they're going to criticize Crawford and they're going to say, see what I mean? That's because he was never tested. So depending on how that fight goes, even if Porter loses a fight, if he makes it competitive enough, they're gonna even be saying that Crawford's not gonna beat Errol Spence, because if he can't beat Porter, then he's not gonna beat Errol Spence.
Right. That's a good point. Mike been on the road today, man. Mike been kicking ass.
Do you think so if that's the case, if you guys think Porter is such a tough fight for Terence Crawford, right? If Terence Crawford dominates that and has a dominating performance, then surely that place is Terence Crawford in the number 2 pound for pound spot without any question, right?
No, man, we already went over this, Enran. You see, Enran, you trying to start trouble, man.
No, but hang on a minute.
Imran's trying to. Imran wants to start wars.
What's Spence's best win at welterweight? I'm asking you, Steven. What's his best win?
Who's best win?
Yeah, who's Spence's best win at welterweight?
Let's see. At welterweight, today, I would say it's gonna be I think it's Shawn Porter. I think you have to say Shawn Porter.
Exactly.
Today.
If
he set you up. He set
destroys.
I know he did, but I got something for him too, though. Go ahead. I know he did.
Yeah, if he destroys Shawn Porter, right? Surely that places him above Errol Spence.
We'll see by then, because if I'm correct in my math or my time assumptions, Errol Spence would have already fought Manny Pacquiao, and if it goes well for Errol Spence and Errol Spence beats Manny Pacquiao, then he still Crawford is always, unfortunately, he's always going to be chasing the dragon that is Errol Spence. See, what you didn't understand, but Imran, is that I read you and I thought about I knew what you were going to do, and I already thought about that.
But
I couldn't say that it's Porter. I think if you asked me that question, I think it's just the amount of fight. Like there isn't one fight that stands out necessarily for me with Errol Spence. It's just the fact that he's fought the same caliber of opposition. He's beat them all. So I would put Kell Brook there too. Going to England, that's a big ass win.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stopping
Oh
him,
yeah, I
that's a
forgot
big
about
win.
that. Yeah,
That's
I
a
forgot
big
about
win.
that.
Beating Danny Garcia after coming back from a car crash, not even taking a tune-up. That's crazy, dog. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And then of course Shawn Porter, and then he has who's the what's the other fight? I know he didn't fight Thurman. He would beat Thurman too. in my opinion.
Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey. The thing with that one too, though, is that Mikey's like a smaller dude, man. And when I heard that Mikey signed up for the fight, what happened in the fight is exactly what I expected. He was gonna go in there and cash the fucking check, and that's it. He was just gonna be in survival mode most of the fight, and that was it. He wasn't gonna try to go in there and actually win the fight.
But guys, let me come in here a second. So if Terence Crawford dominates Porter, right? We're talking about a pound for pound list here, Stephen, right? He's a 140-pound undisputed champion, and he was a champion at lightweight. You can't like a pound for pound is how many weight classes you move up, right? I just don't think that see, no one's questioning what Terence did at the smaller weight classes, right? But if he beats Shawn Porter, then that talk of he not fighting an elite welterweight is dusted. So I just don't know how you place him ahead of. I just don't know how you could place Errol Spence. Errol Spence has a massive advantage, is that he's a massive welterweight. He's bigger than most of the welterweight.
Yeah,
his advantage is that his advantage is that Terence Crawford is still fighting Errol Spence's sloppy seconds, so it don't matter. He's already beat these guys that Shawn Porter is now starting to beat. He's just now starting to beat these guys. And then if you really want to be petty about it, you can say that Shawn Porter is at the twilight of his career. He's old, or you can say that he's concentrating on his commentating career. He's an analyst. He's doing too much, so he really ain't focused. You can make excuses there, but the fact of the matter is, Errol Spence already beat him, and by then he would have already beaten Pacquiao. So he's always.
Steven, you're dodging the question. You're dodging the question. Stephen, I said that at 140, pound for pound is about moving up weight classes, right? It's about how many weight classes.
Right.
Terence Crawford is smaller than Errol Spence, right? So he dominated at 140. He beat everybody. He at lightweight. He was a champion, and then when he was at 140, he dominated everybody. People are saying now that he hasn't fought an elite welterweight. If he fights and beats Porter, he would have fought that elite welterweight. So then when you look at what he's done all throughout his career, it's hard to make out that Errol Spence has accomplished more.
No,
Hey man, I agree.
I disagree with you, man. I just disagree with you. I just it's no fault of his own that Errol Spence Jr. has chosen. You know, like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman made a good point one day. Keith Thurman said, "Who cares about the pound for pounds list and stuff?" He said, my division is welterweight. He said, I've always dreamt of of being a welterweight. This is where I'm gonna be. This is where I retire. You know, Errol Spence Jr. for obvious reasons, he's chosen to be a welterweight for the duration of his career. You know, who says that he couldn't have dominated at 140 or whatever? You know, that I don't really care about that. When it comes to all that, I really don't care about all that. I care about what you're doing, how you dominate the field, the name you make for yourself right now. That's how I classify it. Now, if you really want to be technical about it, Imran, you're right. You know, Terence Crawford has done more in terms of overthrowing those individuals in different weight classes, but it's not translating well in the welterweight division. He hasn't done anything as of yet. We'll see what he does with Shawn Porter.
I think, in a way, they're somewhat interchangeable. Like, Crawford has the stats, and what I mean by stats is like the 3 division championships, undisputed. Spence has the names, so that's where it creates a debate, you know, because Spence has fought the better guys, beat the better guys, and Crawford's done more statistically, you know, the division titles and being undisputed. So the reason I think the separator for Crawford, though, and this is the game that I don't like to play. I hate the perception game, but the majority of people that have Crawford over Spence is because they perceive him based on what they see. The eye test, they perceive him to be a more skilled fighter than Errol Spence. So they tend to give Crawford the benefit of the doubt. So
Mike,
that's the
which
reason.
may well be the case. Which may well be the case.
No, it is. I think if I go base, sure, the eye test does tell me that Crawford is probably more talented, but I don't think he's that much more talented than Errol Spence. He just has a different style. Errol Spence is a talented dude, bro. He could do a lot of stuff too. You know, he can box, he can go to the body, he can put pressure. I just think that if a lot of times the perception changes when you face elite fighters. So, for example,
Mike, here's the thing. Mike, here's where I disagree with you. A lot of Errol Spence's advantages at welterweight is his size.
Right.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So the other guys aren't as big as Spence.
No.
So now if he moves up to 154, all of a sudden Spence isn't as big. Now those size advantages.
No, you're right.
Crawford's a big guy.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you right now too with that, Imran. Was Crawford not bigger than Gamboa?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But Gamboa was favorite to win that fight.
But wait,
he was favorite to win that fight.
But he was favored based on what he did as a featherweight and super featherweight, not as a lightweight.
I agree with you, but you can't look at that in hindsight, though. You have to look at what people thought at that particular time. It's like you can't look at a fight in hindsight, though. You know? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
what if? No, I get you. What if my perspective is different than what the people think, though?
No, it could be. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, at that time, the consensus was that Gamboa would beat Crawford.
I agree, but we know. But what I'm bringing up is that we know why. Because of what Gamboa did as a featherweight and as a super featherweight. It would be different if Gamboa was dominating lightweights, and then the perception prior to the fight was, hey, Gamboa is going to beat Crawford based on what he did as a lightweight. But it was based off what he did as a featherweight and a super featherweight. So that has to, even though it's hindsight is giving us the real answer.
Well, listen, there's an argument, yeah, that Spence is above Crawford on the pound list at the moment, but if Crawford beats Porter, that automatically makes him above Spence, because for me, in pound list is activity. Like what have you done? Like, I mean, Crawford hasn't done anything for like the last 4 years now, 3 years, while Spence has. But if Crawford gets a big win like Porter, because that's Spence's biggest win at the moment, he's automatically above him because of all the other accomplishments Crawford has had, because he's a 3-division champion. He's even been undisputed in one of them. So that's my argument there.
That's how pound for pound is. That's how I've seen pound for pound all that time. That's why Canelo's number one right now.
Yeah, Canelo's 100% number one, because obviously what he's doing in 9 months, if he does beat Plant, which he will, he'll be undisputed in 9 months, and I don't even need to mention all the other things he's done.
Right. Guys, I agree. I would agree with Imran, though. I agree with you, Imran. If Crawford beats Porter and he dominates him, then why not? He should be number 2 pound for pound.
It depends how people look at pound for pound, though, because people do it very differently. I do it on activity and like what you've done and all that. Because I mean, Usyk, he's gone down at the moment because obviously he hasn't really had a big fight in ages. But when he beats Joshua,
Makai, that's my next question. If Usyk beats Joshua, is he number 1 pound for pound? Because look what he would have achieved.
Right?
You don't think so?
I don't think he's I don't think right. Canelo, he's a 4-division champion. Yeah, he's already had really good wins in all these divisions. But Canelo's going to be undisputed at super middleweight, and he's beating Golovkin, who was the most dominant champion for a decade. That's a bigger accomplishment than beating Joshua. Red Eye, I see you laughed at me when I said when he beats Joshua. Come on, and we can debate about it.
But Makai's right. Canelo's career up until this point is much greater than Usyk beating one guy in Joshua. Even though that's a massive win. Yes, but
Usyk was undisputed at cruiserweight, and if he beats Joshua, how many times do we see How many times do we see a cruiserweight come up and beat a legitimate heavyweight champion?
Yeah, but Canelo's
But
still accomplished
what
more.
if Canelo's
What's more
undisputed at
prominent?
168, Imran? What if Canelo's undisputed at 168?
But
Moving up a
what I'm
weight
saying is
class.
again, pound for pound is about size, right? It's about size,
That's my
right?
question.
It's about
Is it more
size and how big, how many weight class. Usyk would be fighting somebody 50 pounds bigger than him.
That's a good point,
Which-
actually.
No, right.
what's
But what I'm
more
saying is
important?
this. What I'm saying is
What's
this.
more
This is what I'm
important?
saying.
Undisputed or weight class?
If you brought up Usyk being undisputed, right? So let's say Canelo's undisputed at 168. In your opinion, Imran, which reign was more impressive? Usyk's at cruiserweight or Canelo's at 168?
I think they're both impressive.
Okay, so they cancel each other out. So
but
let's
then
say
if he was to beat Joshua, that surely.
But you think that's more impressive than everything else that Canelo has added? Going up, beating Kovalev, beating Triple G.
No, but we have to
beating
look at recent. We have to look at recent.
Let's look at it like this. Let's look at it like this, right? Let's forget all the other things Canelo's done, right? Canelo becomes undisputed at super middleweight. And then Usyk, he's become undisputed at cruiserweight and he beats Joshua. Right, leave it as that there. And Canelo, he becomes undisputed at super middleweight, and he already has a win over Golovkin, who was the most feared champ. He was dominant for like a decade. Which one's better?
I don't know. It's a tough call, Mackay.
I think Canelo, because obviously
what's more important?
You have to look at Golovkin and Joshua. Joshua, I mean, he already lost. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Golovkin, he never lost. He was undefeated. He was feared. He had almost all the belts as well, just like Joshua has. And he was a lot more dominant than Joshua is. So that's why. And obviously, Canelo's going to become undisputed anyway. So I don't think he's I don't think Usyk can go above him.
Right, Ray's in the house. So Ray, Mackay, you called Ray out. Ray's jumped in. So Ray, go on, Ray.
I wasn't going to come on, I was just going to stay in the live chat.
Oh, I was right.
I
didn't know I was right.
Be out, and I thought, well, it'd be rude not to.
Yeah.
We would have debated about that, yeah. I did think it was them. Or someone else.
Go on, Ray.
Yeah, so I was laughing at him when he said when he beats Joshua. I thought that was funny because Usyk's not going to beat Joshua. He's not going to beat Joshua. He's what? Sorry.
He's going to beat Joshua.
No, he's not. He's not. No. I noticed he's sounding more confident as time goes on, but believe me, he's not going to beat him. He's not going to.
Ray, okay, hypothetically,
Usyk's going to shock the world, mate. That's what I think.
Where does that place him on the pound for pound ranking?
What's more important, though?
I mean, now or if he beats Joshua?
If he was to beat Joshua, hypothetically speaking, even if you don't think he's going to win, but if he does win, where does that place him?
I just got an important question. Like, what's more important?
Top 5.
Moving up weight classes or getting undisputed?
Top 5.
What holds more weight?
You don't think a win over Joshua puts him ahead of like
Usyk will be top 2. He'll be second.
No, I would still have Canelo number 1 and Usyk number 2.
Even if he beats Joshua, Ray.
Yeah, even if he beats Joshua, yeah.
Canelo number 1 and Usyk number 2 for me. If that happens.
No, I wouldn't put
Usyk
number 2.
Me too. I would say the same.
I wouldn't.
If Usyk beats Joshua, he deserves to go number 2.
Yeah, in my.
I wouldn't put him number 2.
Who would you put number 2?
I'd still leave Usyk there.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, I mean, that's an argument between there as well, anyway.
Okay. Another one.
And he's a smaller guy in his division as well.
If Manny Pacquiao beats Spence, would he go above Canelo? Because now you're talking about achievements and what Canelo did 5 years ago. Yeah. But Manny Pacquiao's got a better resume than Canelo.
Yeah, he would.
So he would go number 1 then.
Yeah, he would.
He beat Spence.
Yeah, he would.
Guys?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, to put you guys see pound for pound very different from me. So what? Manny Pacquiao's not in the top 10 right now, in my opinion.
No.
So how can I justify with that one win
against Ray? His last 3 fights.
What he's already done.
Ray, his last 3 fights. Manny Pacquiao. Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner. Look at Canelo's last 3 fights. What's his name? He fought Billy Joe, Yildirim, and Callum Smith. It's hard to say that is what's more impressive, Ray.
But look at the time frame between the fights. You've already just said before I jumped on. Look what he's done for me recently. When was the Thurman fight?
Yeah.
Was that recently?
No, it's 2 years ago.
So where's your argument then, mate?
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to say, what is pound for pound? Is it what you've done recently?
I think the problem is you've got to consistently decide between the four of yous, never mind across all boxing fans, what you want in a pound for pound list. Because between the five of us on now, we've all got a different idea of what's pound for pound.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's very, I think universally we're all saying Canelo's on there. We'll probably agree, out the 10, top 10, we'll probably agree 8 fighters each. That would all be on. But the criteria we've all got are all different. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even though Pacquiao's resume is impressive, for me, the time elapsed between each fight wouldn't warrant him to be wouldn't want him to be number one should he beat Errol Spence. And for Usyk to beat Joshua, that alone isn't necessarily enough, because what you could although for me he gets on because of what he's done at cruiserweight, he's not done anything at heavyweight. The win against Joshua would be massive for him, but it wouldn't automatically put him in for the top 2 for pound. There's no consistency. He's had a great win. You need consistency for me for pound. We're talking about the very best out of all the boxers out there.
Ray, a lot of people put Fury in the pound for pound. What has he done consistently?
Well, yes, people put Fury there. I put Fury in there because of what he beat the man who beat the man.
But how long ago was that, Ray?
But then he beat Deontay Wilder, who similar to use Makai's theory, he beat somebody who nobody,
I don't think Wilder was avoided
on his record.
I don't think Wilder was avoided or anything. No, I think Wilder's a hype job. So it's a bit different for me there.
You, as I was saying there, what I meant was you using your rhetoric for Canelo and Golovkin in terms of Golovkin was feared and he dominated, didn't he? You could argue Wilder did the same. He had 10 defenses of the WBC. That technically is Hall of Fame form, whether we like it or not. So
I guess,
Fury's come back from depression, drug addict, from having a drug addict, and he's beat somebody who's a future Hall of Famer. So when he talked about what he's done recently, Imran, that sounds pretty decent when you look at it like that.
If you look at it like that, then you're true. But obviously, I'm finding it a bit different with Golovkin and Wilder. But if you put it that way, you're right, of course.
He hasn't really fought. Like, if you look at Fury's, in that case, then if we're going to go on a resume, then Joshua deserves to be on the top 10 more than Fury, really.
Of course. I agree. And this is the argument I was having with Stephen. You can't just put Jamel Charlo in and say, oh, he's won 3 belts, because in that case, Joshua should be on. And this was my argument. And I said Lomachenko should be on.
Why isn't Joshua on then, Ray?
Well, you see, this is the argument I've been having with people with Imran. Some people don't like putting heavyweights in the pound for pound list because years and years ago, heavyweights never used to be on. But what my argument is, that was years and years ago. We're talking about now. Heavyweights should be on now. I'll tell you why. Because you can get light heavyweights and super middleweights going to cruiserweight and heavyweight. Look at Roy Jones Jr. So for me, if somebody like Lawrence Okoli, he's an example where he can easily clean out the cruiserweight division. He could probably win a belt at Bridgerweight, win the only belt there, the WBC. And then what's to stop him in 5 years' time cleaning up at heavyweight? Wouldn't so that would be 3 weights he's cleaned up at. Wouldn't that not be enough to be undisputed? Because that's, again, Hall of Fame material. So this argument of saying you can't put heavyweights in there is outdated, because if you get an undisputed heavyweight champion, in my opinion, that alone deserves for you to be pound for pound.
I by the way, wouldn't put Joshua in the top 10 pound for pound, Ray. What would you have him in your top 10?
He's not in my top 10, no.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I think we're kind of I think we kind of agree with that. I was just saying on the basis, you know, how you were saying about Fury's resume. He probably deserves more.
And also what people do is they say they've got the heavyweights in there, but then they have Usyk in there and ask, oh, why you've got Usyk in there when he's heavyweight? Oh, because he was a cruiserweight. But then you're making it a bit unfair still, because Usyk is now a heavyweight. So he shouldn't be on there if that's your logic. Do you agree?
It see, some people have got him on there. I see where you're coming from, because it's almost like you've got to, when a fighter moves up a weight permanently, you've kind of got to put the reset button on them. You see, you can't keep saying, "Oh, like, I'm putting him on there because he was undisputed at this weight." Yeah, okay, but he's fighting at 2 weights above that. But then again, if we're saying that, then you've got to look at why Crawford's on a pound for pound list. Because Crawford, in my opinion, is on his pound for pound list for what he's done at lightweight and light welterweight. You can't tell me Crawford should be on a pound for pound list for what he's done at welterweight, because he's done that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he's downgraded on the pound for pound list. Like, he's went down because obviously he hasn't done anything for a while.
He's still on mine. He's still on mine. But I've got people that I think are very skillful, very talented boxers on there, and are arguably, if every boxer was to be the same weight, these boxers would stand out. I.e., Lomachenko. You know, Lomachenko. Boxer. Yeah. I can't see, as a purist, many boxers better than him for skill. So he's on my pound for pound list. Do you see what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like,
I get you.
Somebody like you or Imran may not have Lomachenko on there because they'll think, well, what's he done recently? But for me,
have him on there.
I look at his ability.
I still when they haven't done anything, I don't like take them like off it. I've still got Crawford on there. I've still got Loma's still got high for me as well.
Yeah,
but they're not like Crawford. He used to be top 3. He's not top 3 for me anymore. But I don't even do pound for pound. But if I did one, I don't think I have Crawford top 3.
Yeah,
probably like 6. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing that changes, but I try to keep mine consistent. I don't fall sort of like pendulum mentality where all of a sudden somebody who hasn't been anywhere near your pound for pound list comes onto your pound for pound list. You know, I just think it makes you look a bit like what Roy Keane used to call an armchair prawn sandwich fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, if you really know your stuff, your pound for pound list should be quite consistent. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Mike, you got any thoughts on that?
I think I use everything. I mean, I go based on what everyone else here said. It just really depends on my priority. What I choose above everything, what I choose to be number one is who have you fought, the opposition that you faced. After that, I can go with, how many division titles, or if you're undisputed, then I could maybe say the eye test or something like that. But to me, there's no question that who you face, the quality of the opponents that you face is how I go is how I rank the fighters in a pound for pound list. But overall, I'm not really big on pound for pound lists because of that, because they're so subjective and because everyone has different opinions. I don't really pay too much attention to it. I just kind of use it as a gauge to kind of like give me an idea what people think and how people view the landscape in boxing. But I don't look at it as like an exact or like there's an exact formula that tells us exactly who the best guy is. Like it's too subjective, especially if you're prioritizing something like the eye test, because if you're doing that, you're making the pound for pound list even more subjective. Like the idea of a pound for pound list is for us to know exactly who the best fighter is, who should be number one, who should be number two. So if we don't go based on who they fought and we're just gonna say, oh, but I just think he's super skilled, you're making it more subjective. So you're getting farther from the truth because you're doing a lot of guessing at that point. So I always prioritize who you face.
Mike, the only problem with that is if you look at the example between last weekend, Crawford, Charlo and Castaño, one was number 1, the other one was number 2 in the weight class. One of them had a far better resume than the other, correct?
Yes.
But it didn't necessarily work out that the fighter with a better resume was the better fighter on fight night.
No, but that fight actually proves my point, because the majority of people, based on the eye test, thought that Jermell Charlo was the better fighter. And they were criticizing Castaño because they were saying that Castaño didn't have his skill set. But yet Castaño, in most people's eyes, he beat Jermell Charlo. So the more skilled guy lost the fight based on the eye test.
Yeah, and it's funny because it also proves the point that I was making, because one has a far better resume than the other one. One has more belts than the other one. So you could argue the facts would suggest Charlo, if any was to be on pound for pound, would be on. And I'm saying he shouldn't be on. And do you know what I mean? So I guess that fight,
especially not after that fight. Yeah, after that,
Yeah.
after watching that fight, you're not gonna have him in the pound for pound list.
Yeah,
No,
they
no.
have Charlo on the list, but they wouldn't have Castano.
But
It makes no sense
this is
to
the
me.
point I'm making, Mike, and Mackay, that particular fight proves your point, but also proves my point, which goes to what I was saying earlier, that the problem with the pound for pound criteria is because it's so mythical, everybody you speak to has got a different criteria on it. So unless there's some general consistency with it, nobody really, you know.
I'll give you another example. Let's bring up another example. I look at Inoue. Inoue, a lot of people rank him very, very high. I look at Inoue in a similar fashion that I look at Crawford. It's two guys who, based on the eye test, they're viewed as very, very skilled fighters, and they've won multiple division championships, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the opposition, the opposition is not there. The opposition is not there.
I would disagree with that
Hold
one.
Hold on.
Okay.
He fought Donaire recently, who's clearly past his prime, and Donaire is the one that made Inoue look the worst in his whole career. So if we went based on the eye test, you would have thought that Inoue was gonna fucking destroy Donaire, especially because Donaire is an older dude. So Donaire again is proving my point, is that a lot of times people prioritize the eye test way too much. And in my personal opinion, after watching boxing for close to 30 years already, and I'm not counting my first 10 years of being born because I was too young, obviously. So after watching boxing for fucking decades, I can't compare. We do this a lot in a lot of other sports, right? Like let's say soccer, basketball, whatever sport you watch. If I could have told you immediately at the age of 2018 Mbappe was going to be a fucking monster. And I would have said that dude is going to win the Ballon d'Or, once he's in his prime. It's going to be him or Haaland or whoever the hell, right? But in boxing, you can go based on the eye test, but the eye test is not going to tell you, it's not going to reveal certain things, like if you have a glass jaw, if you're strong, how your power is going to translate into other weight classes, how you're going to be able to take a punch into other weight classes, how your physicality is going to be able to translate if you're moving up in different weight classes. These aren't things that you can necessarily see with the eye test. You could see skill set, you could see the way a guy moves, you could see the technical side of a fighter, but you can't tell if a guy has a glass jaw until you can't tell if a guy has. You see him there with an elite level fighter who's gonna test that defense. So a lot of people tend to use the eye test to rank fighters. I do it too. I just don't prioritize it. So I'm not gonna put a guy like Inoue or a guy like a Crawford, even though I've had them in my top 5 for the longest, because I do consider the fact that they moved up in different divisions and they have multiple undisputed whatever, right? But I'm not going to put them above another guy if another fighter has proven to beat elite level competition. So when Steven brought up Errol Spence, I kind of agreed with him in the sense where I said I can see Errol Spence being ranked above Crawford. I can see it because he's proven it with elite level competition. Think about this, guys. Imagine if Crawford, for whatever reason, loses to Shawn Porter, or let's say even if he wins, but he wins in a controversial fashion, that's going to destroy a lot of his legacy because people are not going to view him in the same fashion again. And that's because he stepped up to another level of competition. If you continue to fucking fight guys or play guys in the first round, if you're in the NBA finals and you're avoiding the NBA finals and you're playing against guys in the first round, second round, second round, and you're killing these guys and you're scoring 40 points a game, and I'm going to say, okay, well, this guy's murdering these first, second round teams, I'm going to put him pound for pound number 1. That's not really telling us how good the guy is. I got to see him in the finals. I got to see him with the top teams. So until we see Crawford in there or Inoue in there with the best guys in and around their weight class and pound for pound top guys, we're making these lists more subjective.
Inoue's been in with the best guys in his weight class, though.
Who though?
He still won.
No, he has. But he has. I'm not disagreeing with that, Ray. But what I'm saying is, how good were these guys? How good were they? Were they pound for pound guys?
No, but they were still champions, man.
No, of course. But that's the reason why Inoue's ranked in the top 10 pound for pound.
Yeah,
because they're champions. Yeah. But we're talking about whether he belongs number 1, number 2, or number 3. That's the separator. That's what makes it tough.
The problem is, okay, if we're going to be really, and Stephen used this word before, if we're going to be really petty, let's look at people who are in the pound for pound list now. Let's think of those top 10 in our heads. How many of them have beaten other fighters in the top 10 pound for pound list?
Canelo Alvarez, who's number 1, right?
But how many pound for pound fighters has Canelo Alvarez beat? Only one that I can think of.
Yeah, but that's a huge win, though. That's a massive win. Like, it's not just a 1 pound for pound guy. You're talking about the guy who was the best middleweight of his generation. And
one of the greatest of all time.
Right. He's an all-time great. He's an all-time great middleweight. And not just that, but Canelo was viewed as the underdog in both the fights. He was the one that moved up to his weight class.
Right.
So that's
one guy. That's one guy. How about the rest?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. No, what I'm trying to say is this, man, is that we have to gauge all this and then make a list based off of that. So how do you rank Errol Spence? Where do you rank Errol Spence?
The radio silence.
Where do you rank Errol Spence?
Where do I rank Errol Spence?
Yes.
Easy, Ray, because Steven's gonna get unhappy here.
About 4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's not bad.
So behind Crawford.
So you have behind Crawford.
I've always said Spence beats Crawford, but Crawford's above him in the pound for pound list.
Steven, you hearing that?
So I'm hearing him.
He knows. I've told him before, and I tell him.
Okay, here's another question. Someone
basically he was arguing with me, Ray. He was arguing with me because I said that he's ahead of Spence, and he was like, "Oh no, he's not. Spence is number 2 pound for pound." That's what.
This is why I don't understand rankings either.
Steve,
what do you guys?
Spence
Where do you guys? Do you guys think that's fair where that Teofimo's rank where he's ranked after beating Lomachenko?
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
6, 7.
So you guys wouldn't put him in the top 3?
No.
Oh, right. Is he top 3?
Even though Lomachenko was viewed as a number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world, and he beats that guy, you still don't put him in the top 3?
No, because he's bigger. He's bigger than Lomachenko.
Okay.
His in my top 5 was the fact that he was Lopez, though. I think I've got him number 5.
Who has Spence number 2?
Steven.
I got Spence number 2.
Why?
Man. Word up.
Why you got Spence number 2?
Word up.
Why?
Word up. See, this is why.
I don't even think I have Spence in my top 5.
Yeah, I mean that's too bad for you.
See,
here it is about Spence. Okay, Spence, he's damn near undisputed. He's missing what, 1 belt for being undisputed?
2 belts, even 2 belts, not 1 belt.
2 belts.
Okay, so 2 belts. Tomato. Tomato.
No, but a lot more fighters deserve to be above him. Like, I mean,
and Spence is beating everybody they put in front of him. He's beating everybody they put in front of him. He don't have no zeros on his record, and he's a top dog at 140, 147. So yeah, I got him ahead of Crawford.
Spence is definitely
Crawford
a
ain't fighting nobody.
Fighter. Yeah, Spence is definitely.
Crawford ain't fighting nobody. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said it.
So how come?
Yeah, I said it.
Steven, right. How come he's above Inoue? How come he's above Inoue?
I think Inoue. Okay, I will make a case for Inoue possibly being number 4 or number 3, but Inoue doesn't have any real wins that jolt you and say, "Oh, that was a good ass win."
Don't know. Right. All I gotta say, right? Would you give Spence credit if he beat Pacquiao?
Yeah, I'm gonna give. Yeah.
Then why aren't you giving Inoue credit for being Donaire?
I didn't. I never said that. I never said that.
That's a good win,
In fact, I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. I say Inoue's win over Donaire is more gangster than any win that Spence got today. But we'll have to see what happens when Spence meets Pac-Man.
The thing is,
with me.
The thing is, though, let me get my point there.
Yeah.
Inoue knocked out champions, like demolished them, like Pacquiao.
And he's the smaller guy.
It doesn't matter whether he's smaller or not. This is pound for pound. That's the whole point of it. He stopped. I'm on about like not just Imran said ages ago about a couple of weeks ago about Josh Taylor, getting decision wins. But then when you look at people like Jamal Charlo getting knockouts, okay, we'll use that rhetoric then. Inoue is getting knockouts on champions.
I like that, Ray.
Yeah,
I like
what I'm saying.
Inoue's champions. That for me doesn't matter how big or how small he is, deserves respect. If that's the rhetoric you're going to use.
I like that.
I like Spence.
But
I love Errol Spence, but I don't see him stopping champions is in fashion that Inoue is doing.
He's big. He's bigger than them, and he's bigger than them, Ray. He's bigger than most of the guys he's fighting.
Inoue is often the smaller guy in the ring, and he's power.
I'm talking about Spence, Ray.
You don't see
I'm
that.
talking about Spence. He's bigger than the guys that he's fighting, yet he's still not stopping them.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And Inoue's not. Inoue's not bigger. He's often the smaller man.
Exactly.
You're talking about the Donaire winning, and Mike said he didn't look that good. He had an orbital fracture. Yeah. You seen that's done to Billy Joe Saunders, and Inoue won. Nakatani lost. Billy Joe Saunders quit. Inoue fought with double, maybe treble vision, and still won.
Donaire's bigger than him as well.
Exactly.
Way bigger than him.
Exactly. So you guys need it, and I think when it comes down to it, how much do we know about Inoue? Because I think if Inoue was American or Mexican, there's an argument for him to be number 1.
Yeah, guys, where are you guys getting this idea that Inoue is a smaller guy?
He is a smaller guy. He's a smaller guy knocking out people.
Smaller than who? Smaller.
That's pound for pound.
Donaire was massive.
But what about McDonald?
Oh, you're saying he's the smallest from. What do you guys? I thought you guys were talking about smaller than the opposition he's faced.
Yeah, I'm
confused.
More like he was, yeah.
Then who though? Who are we talking about?
You don't know McDonald. McDonald was a giant compared to him, and he was a champ.
Bigger than Inoue.
And anyway, how you gotta look at it? People like Loma, Inoue, they're beating people twice the size of them. Spence, he's a lot bigger than the guys, and you can't even stop him. And he only has a couple of good wins.
Mike,
there's no way he's number 2 for me.
Exactly, Mike. Do you not think Donaire, Inoue was a lot smaller than people like Jamie McDonald, who stopped in around?
Guys, there's an echo. Who's got the speaker on?
Hold on,
I'm not sure I hear the echo too.
I think it's Steven.
Do you not think so, Mike? Do you not think Donaire's been Inoue's been a smaller guy in some of his fights?
No, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because Inoue started as a flyweight, bro. He started as a flyweight. He was the bigger dude in the lower weight classes. Like maybe right now he might be either around the size or they might outsize him. But he was outsizing everybody in the lower weight classes.
But
echoing again.
It's me. Hold on. Let me leave and come back.
He wasn't beating champions emphatically back then. We're talking about when he's beating champions emphatically right now.
So
we're
you're
talking
saying
about
that
right now.
Inoue right now is undersized?
Of course he
I'm
is.
not sure. I'm not sure what I'm confused. I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe I'm just confused. I don't understand.
Even if he was bigger at first, like you have to see what he's doing now. I mean, like what he's doing now, like guys like him and Loma, like they're smaller guys. I mean, especially Loma. I mean, look at the guy he just fought.
No, Loma for sure. There's no question. Loma's clearly in a weight class that he doesn't belong in. But I cannot look at Inoue and say that weight class, he doesn't belong in that weight class. He does belong in that weight class.
Yeah, but
he definitely belongs in that weight class. Donaire, bro. They just had the Super Series, right? Donaire got to the fucking final, bro, and he's old as fuck. And he's only what? You guys saw him in the ring with Inoue, right? Did Inoue look outsized by Donaire?
Did you see Donaire's last one, mate?
Mike, let me say something real quick right now. He got there because Ryan Burnett got injured in the middle of a fight. Yeah. If Ryan Burnett never had that back injury, I'm not too sure Donaire would have won that fight.
Maybe, but even if we exclude that, we could go based on the actual fight between Donaire and Inoue. When you saw them in the ring, did it look like Inoue did not belong in that weight class?
Oh,
no, it didn't.
Donaire was a lot bigger.
Oh, come on, man.
He was bigger.
No.
He was bigger, that's for sure.
A lot bigger, man, is when you see Canelo Alvarez in there with Callum Smith. That's a lot bigger. That's a lot bigger.
I mean,
this is we can't get picky, man, when we're saying, oh, this guy's 1 inch taller than this other guy. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
no.
There's gonna be guys that are gonna be slightly bigger. There's gonna be guys that are gonna be slightly bigger. There's gonna be guys. There's been talks, man, that Inoue is even gonna move up to another weight class.
No, that won't happen. That won't happen. The kid's 5'5", man. He ain't even moving nowhere.
I bet you. I bet
he's not got a big build either.
That's exactly right, Mackay.
Yeah, he's gonna move up.
He won't.
Yeah, he's a bantamweight. I could see him moving up.
What's his super bantamweight? No.
I bet you he's gonna move up.
Yeah, he's got the power. He's a strong ass dude, man. He's a strong ass dude.
Think he might. I think if he dominates this weight class, he might move up one more weight, possibly.
Yeah, but if he
and you know what,
he definitely won't go to featherweight.
It's a shame we didn't get to see that Inoue Casemiro fight. Oh, I mean, I want to see that fight.
This is bring it up. When Inoue was in the lower weight classes, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was talks about him fighting Gallo Estrada. There was talks about him fighting Chocolatito, possibly. All right. He didn't even last in those weight classes, man. That's how big he was in those weight classes. He didn't even last. These guys stayed in those weight classes and they continued to fight each other. And he continued to move up in weight class over and over and over. And I'm telling you right now, he can still move up to another weight class. Sure, there might be a guy there that might be a monster, kind of like what Spence is to the welterweight division, right? But there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be his size as well, man. So it really depends on who you fight. There's going to be guys that are going to be large bantamweights. There's going to be guys that are going to be average bantamweights, and they're going to be small bantamweights. I look at Inoue as a solid bantamweight, not a small bantamweight or a large bantamweight. I just look at him as a solid bantamweight.
Donaire is really big. He's the biggest one of them all. He's the biggest bantamweight of them all.
Exactly. And when I saw him in the ring, I thought Inoue was gonna run him over, bro. That's what I thought.
He's the biggest one that's good because I mean Jamie McDonough was huge. Jamie McDonough was an absolute monster physically at bantamweight. How he made bantamweight, nobody knows. And he was
And in a way, didn't take him like 2 rounds.
Right.
No, but he was drained.
But that's a yeah, exactly. Like those guys, man. We're bringing like anomalies here. You know, this is 5'9". He's a I mean, he doesn't even belong in that weight class. Like
I know. That's why I said it.
And you know what? And physics has a lot to do with it too, man. I know that I'm gonna get everybody's gonna have a go at me for saying this, but physics has a lot to do with fight. If you're a smaller guy, it's easier to knock other smaller guys out. Whereas guys that are bigger and have more mass on them, their bodies are built to take more punishment, to take more of an impact. So I'm not saying that anyway what he's doing is phenomenal, because he is, and I like to see him fight Casemiro. You know,
See,
that's why I like to see him fight.
Stephen,
But
I would disagree. I would probably say that it's harder because how many knockouts, pure knockouts, you see in the smaller weight classes?
Yeah, less.
There's far less, Stephen. That's why you know it's so special. It's probably easier to knock people out when you've got more mass on yourself. You know,
and he's a
look
big
at
he's a big
Petreviev.
bantamweight too. So it's easy for him to knock those guys out.
I don't think
He
it
did
is.
not. You see, he did not Donaire out.
Yeah, because Donaire's got a chin and he's proper solid and he's heavier.
And Donaire broke his eye socket too. See,
Yeah.
he was in there with a seasoned killer. He got that eye socket broke.
And he came through.
Straight up killer. At the end of the day, how many pure knockouts you see in the lower weight classes? Nowhere near as what they see in the heavier weight classes. You get people like Petreviev, who's got 100% knockout ratio in the higher weight classes. You tell me who's got that in the lower weight classes? Who's fought legit opponents, not one of these Thai fighters that fights people from India and Nigeria with
Mr. Javante Davis.
No, he's got 96 or something like that.
Yeah, I think he didn't stop. Did he stop Gambo? Who didn't he stop?
No, he stopped Gambo in the 11th round, I think, or the 12th.
Yeah. 12th, I think. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, but really, it's rare. It's rare you see somebody in the low weight classes. I'm on about, say, lightweight and below that's got 100% knockout ratio of very good opponents.
Ray, Stephen thinks that Javante Davis should be in the top 10 pound for pound. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I disagree with that.
Why you disagree?
I tell you why I disagree.
Why
how much time you got? He's not a free. You know, I had this chat with Imran like last night, this morning. I can't give him the credibility he's got because he's, for a start, he's handpicked his opponents. Ability wise, yes, but if we're going off the rhetoric of what Mike's saying and what Imran said and what Mackay is saying about looking at his opponents, no, he doesn't go off there. For me.
Ray, I would make a case that even ability wise, I wouldn't put him top 10.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well,
I don't.
I wouldn't put him on. I wouldn't put him on. You know.
Yeah, he's definitely
I suppose what the argument should be is why would you put him on? You know.
But
yeah,
if
it's like for it really it's his power. So Leo Santa Cruz for me was losing. Barrios, you can argue he lost the first.
Javante.
Yeah,
Javante. Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to do you know how much of a killer Leo Santa Cruz was, man? I mean, let's really talk about that.
Leo Santa Cruz won 126 pounder. You can't punch.
Yeah,
he fought him at 130.
He was a killer, Stephen. Yeah, exactly. But you're talking about a featherweight.
Santa Cruz weight class.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Tank's doing what Pacquiao used to do and what people accuse Mayweather of doing, and he's fighting people out the weight class, and he's carefully selecting.
Matter of fact, Santa Cruz is going back down.
I know he's going back down.
That
fight, he realized he couldn't. I mean, he was winning that fight against Tank. Anyone could say that.
Yeah, he was winning the fight. Yeah, but Tank has that.
I had it even.
And you know what, man? I think Tank don't get enough credit for being a good boxer. I think he's a good boxer. He's an excellent counter puncher. He's an excellent counter puncher.
Yeah, he is.
He has very good attributes.
Great body puncher too.
But if Davies is on your pound for pound list, then why Oscar Valdez should be on it?
Yeah, Javante doesn't have enough, man. He doesn't have enough.
Oscar Valdez should be on it if Davies is on it.
I got him on mine personally. I like to see him, whoever he fights next, and he needs to step up. And you guys are right; he does need to step up and fight somebody like Devin the Dream Haney or hell, even Ryan Garcia at this point, and really step up and That way we can really get a good gauge. But my truth is, I think that he's knocking anybody out at 135.
I want to see him fight Lopez. I think that's like a really good win for him if he does get that.
Yeah,
pound for pound wise.
yeah.
If he beats Lopez.
I don't think he could beat
If Tank
Teofimo.
knocks out Lopez, I would
Yeah.
be, I'd be really surprised.
Yeah, I would be.
It'd have to be an argument for him to be on there. But until that, going on what he's done now, he's not on my list.
Or even if he fights and beats Taylor, what? That's a fight. He's at one.
He's
100%. Of course.
He's not gonna beat Taylor.
Taylor's a lot bigger than Davies, and if Davies can manage to beat him, then he's definitely on there.
But that's what I'm saying.
When I saw Taylor, I was shocked when I saw him. I was like, how the hell is this guy? How the hell can this guy make 140? He looked like a welterweight to me.
Yeah, he's huge, mate.
Yeah, he is, man. He is. You talking about Josh Taylor, right?
Josh Taylor.
Yeah, Josh Taylor.
Yeah. He's big, man.
Who's bigger, him or Barrios?
Barrios,
yeah.
Probably Barrios, yeah.
Oh, so it won't be.
Taylor's a lot better.
But yeah, Taylor, exactly. Taylor's a lot better skill wise. So.
Hey guys, can Tank beat at 135? Can he beat either Tio or Lomachenko? Can he beat those guys?
No, I don't think he beats them.
I don't think so.
I think it's not Teofimo. I mean,
for sure not Teofimo. For sure not Teofimo.
Definitely not Loma.
I don't think he beats. I don't think he beats Loma.
I think he can.
The top lightweights I think Davies can beat is someone like Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
Ryan
but
Garcia
Lomachenko isn't going to be. Lopez is going to be a lot bigger than Tank, like a lot bigger. Lomachenko probably not, but Lomachenko's ability will get him out the way of those big punches. Lomachenko,
I think Davis
what you can't see.
Lomachenko.
You can't hit what you can't see. I just can't see him.
Yeah, he has the ability to outbox Devon.
I think Davis could sleep Lomachenko. Like I think he could knock him cold if he
could.
Yeah, he could, but he might not catch him though, man.
But can he land that? Can he land that on Lomachenko? I don't think he can.
How many times have you seen Lomachenko caught flush on the chin?
I don't think I've ever seen Lomachenko caught flush on the chin.
I seen Linares catch him.
Sorry?
Yeah, but it was flush.
The Linares, did Linares catch him on the chin? I thought that was a body shot.
No, on the chin.
Hey, baby, that might caught in there.
In the that happened, Imran?
Yeah, but Imran, to be fair, I think Lomachenko was going for the KO and was taking risk. That's why he got caught flush against Linares. But I think against Tank, he won't do that. He'll play it safe. He'll just outbox him.
He's going to be very smart.
He will outbox him, but I just think that 12 rounds, I think Davis is too good a boxer for him to. I don't know. It's a tough one, man. It's
too good a boxer. Too good a boxer. He's losing the fight against Leo Santa Cruz and against Barrios.
No. I said. But again, he wiped those guys out. What I mean is, like, he's too good a boxer in the sense that eventually he will find a way to land something. Like Lomachenko's not going to go 12 rounds not getting hit by Davis. That is not going to happen. Davis will catch him somewhere along the way. So, Ray, do you think Lomachenko's going to school him for 12 rounds where Davis won't land anything on Lomachenko?
I think Loma can stop him.
I think he'll land something, but it's the same. It's a bit like saying in that case, and then Wilder wins every fight, or doesn't he? Do you see what I mean? It'd be dangerous, Tank, from round 1 to round 12, but Lomachenko, he's not facing anybody with Lomachenko's ability, Lomachenko's footwork, Lomachenko's defensive ability, and then the offensive skills of Lomachenko. Sometimes Lomachenko's offense is his defense. When he gets inside and he cuts you up with those angles.
Guys, we've got some comments in the comment section. The Brotherhood says Davis knocks Loma out. JYT says Tank bullies Loma and Tank walks down Tio. Jet says I don't think he'd win against both. I want him. So there's a heated debate going on in the comments.
Because these will be, you know.
Imran, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. You can't make him drink it. I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. I'm telling you, Gervonta Tank Davis would completely clean his clock clean Lomachenko. He would. He would. That dude's special, man.
I don't know if he will, but he definitely can. I don't know if he will, but he definitely can.
I'm not sure I want to see that fight.
I'm willing to bet on that. Now, I ain't no bet, man,
Gervonta has to have one. He has to pound for pound. He's one of the most powerful guys out there, pound for pound for sure.
He's one of the best punchers today.
Right, pound for pound for sure.
Yeah, explosive.
So he does have the ability. The way he cocks his punches.
But isn't the same argument that Lomachenko is one of the best defensive fighters today?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think he's really good defensively. He's really good defensively because of his footwork.
Right.
Yeah. But also because of his head movement as well.
Oh yeah, he's got great head movement as well. But I think obviously the footwork makes it even more better.
Yeah,
his offense is like his defense. That's what
I was saying before. His offense is a bit like in football, what you call soccer. Sometimes the best form of defense is attack, and you see that with Lomachenko.
Tank got a chin on him too. Tank got a chin on him too.
I mean,
yeah, no.
Yeah,
he looks like he's dirty.
Do you guys not think that Lomachenko be throwing out? Tank can take it, eat them, and he'll give them back.
Tank is kind of like he's like a Canelo kind of type of build. He's that type of build. He's like a small, stocky, powerful dude.
So is Teofimo Lopez.
Do you guys know?
Teofimo's bigger.
Teofimo Lopez is against two bullies because for all the power that Tank has, Teofimo's got a damn lot of power in that right hand.
I think Teofimo beats Gervonta Davis for sure.
Right? Have you ever seen that footage with Teofimo and Gervonta Tank Davis sparring? Have you seen that?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Tank was giving it to him, man. Tank is cold with it, man.
Sparring, Steven, me and you both know.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know it's just sparring, but that dude Tank is gangster.
Listen, I've seen Tank in his amateur fights before. I've seen Lopez, Haney, and Garcia. I've always been impressed with Tank, but he's not pound for pound yet, and I can't say for sure I will put him favorite against Lopez or Lomachenko. I would put him favorite against Haney and Garcia, but not Loma and Lopez.
Hey Ray,
you guys are putting Imran to sleep, man.
Hey Ray,
he was saying something.
Hey Ray, do you think that Tank's KOs and his impressive wins are a tad overrated because he cherry picks his opponents?
The Barrios one, yeah, for sure. And I thought he fought Leo Santa Cruz at Leo Santa Cruz's wrong weight.
Gamboa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It just doesn't give it the credibility that,
But is anybody surprised? He's promoted by Mayweather.
Yeah. I know. So to answer Little Penny's question, I would, yes or no, I would say yes. Because
matter of fact, did you guys hear the comment that they made after Tank won the fight?
Yeah,
in-house fight
on the show saying
in-house fights.
Mayweather and Lennon was saying we're only going to fight sort of in-house fights. But for me, Tank Davis, he needs to fight somebody like a Ryan Garcia or a Haney, and then we can see what he's about. A lightweight. We don't know if he's the best in that weight class yet.
Hell, he can even fight Luke Campbell. I don't care. I mean,
but Luke Campbell's not the best. Luke Campbell's a gatekeeper.
He's not Luke Campbell.
He needs to step it up a little bit more so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're risking him, bro. He's that's all they have. That's all Mayweather promotion has. It's Tank Davis, and they feel that he sells enough by fighting guys like Barrios, by like picking certain guys to where like he makes enough money, so they're gonna milk him. They're gonna milk him before they put him out there with like a dangerous opponent or an opponent where most would probably see him as an underdog. I don't see that happen anytime soon.
I mean, you can see it's very clear as well because look what they're doing. They've already called him like a free weight world champion, even though he beat Gamboa to get a regular belt, and then he beat Barrios to get a regular belt. Like he's only,
and he's 26.
He's only a one division champion, really. Because I mean, the regular belts don't count. He needs to beat the actual champs like Josh Taylor and Lopez. Well, at the time it was Loma and Lopez that had the belts.
Yeah, Lomachenko
He can
probably.
fight Regis Prograis. He can
What you
fight Regis Prograis.
That's a really good win if Tank beats him. And I think he can. Actually, he actually can as well.
I
He
like
can win that fight.
I think he's a good fighter.
Yeah, I don't think I won't bet on it, but he can beat Prograis definitely.
That's a tough fight. That's a good fight. I like that fight.
No, because I like Regis Prograis. I don't think that's an easy fight for Tank.
Yeah, that's a hard fight.
Because he's up against. Don't forget, he's up against the better guys of a bigger weight class. You know, he's not up against people like Barrios or he's up against what
I want to see a rematch between Prograis and Josh Taylor.
Because I think he's better than Ramirez.
What were you saying, Stephen?
I said I want to see that rematch. I want to see a run it again. Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis.
Josh Taylor wins again.
I think. Nah, he didn't win the first one, right? Come on, right?
First one, come on, man.
I thought it was a draw. I'll be honest. I thought it was a draw. Mike,
Mackay, Little Penny, how did you see that fight?
What fight?
Y'all UK dudes, man, be tripping, man.
Taylor v Prograis.
Oh yeah, that was a really good fight. It was a close fight, but Taylor definitely won that. Taylor, obviously, Prograis was doing good at the start, and then Taylor just brought it to him.
Definitely win. Come on, Mackay. He didn't definitely. That was too close.
Little Penny, how did you see it?
Yeah, man.
He did win the fight. He did win the fight.
I'm with Imran. I thought it was a draw.
Little Penny, what are you saying?
I'm with Imran. I thought it was a draw. I didn't think that Taylor definitely won that fight. But the rematch, that would be a huge fight in Scotland, right, guys? Like you guys from Britain, don't you think that will sell out a stadium in Scotland?
Yeah, but would Prograis want to go to Scotland though? Well, no, he probably would. He would went to the UK.
Fight, he probably would. But to be honest, Lil Penny, John Taylor, many of his fights now would sell a stadium in Scotland.
Well, how do you see the?
Say that again.
Ray, can you repeat what you said again?
If Josh Taylor was to fight anybody now, it would probably fill a stadium in Scotland.
The only problem is, if I'm going to be fair, I don't think he can win a decision in Scotland. Even if he wins, he's not going to get. It's going to happen what happened last time. So I don't really. I don't think he can dominate Taylor. So I see that fight playing out the same way it did last time, and doesn't matter what he does, even if you have him.
They got to fight.
I just got to be honest. I don't see him winning.
Yeah. They got to fight neutral grounds because y'all UK dudes, y'all like to. Okay, so they need to fight somewhere neutral. Okay, on some they only got to fight in America. They can fight in Argentina, or they can fight in Dubai.
Argentina.
But Josh Taylor is the A side now. He commands the contract. So
But that's what I mean. That's why I wouldn't like to see that fight because I don't think Regis Prograis can dominate Josh Taylor, right? And I think if the fight's close, I think Josh Taylor will get it's like a bit like Canelo and Golovkin.
Not if it's in America.
If that fight happened in America, I think Prograis would have got the decision.
Yeah, Prograis would have got the decision if it was in America. Yeah, that's for sure.
But that's rubbish. That's rubbish. That's not good, is it? That's rubbish. That's not good for boxing, man.
I mean, how do you guys see the Prograis versus Mikey Garcia fight? That's apparently happening, isn't it?
I got Mikey Garcia in that one.
Really?
That's a good fight.
Yeah, Mikey Garcia.
I think Prograis.
Hey y'all, hey, check it out. If Mikey Garcia goes back to 140, he's dominating. Mikey Garcia.
I'd say that.
I agree.
I think.
Do you not just think Mikey Garcia is looking for a paycheck? I mean, the guy's so inactive. He's just looking for big fights.
That's what I'm saying, Mackay. If he's the old Mikey Garcia, he beats everybody at 140 for me. I don't think there's anyone at anyone that.
I think Tank. Oh, no, not Tank. Taylor. I think Taylor would beat him.
What in his prime?
Yeah, I still think Taylor would win.
I can't see that.
Taylor's very good.
No, I just don't see that. Mikey in his prime was special, man. He was cleaning out. Guys. Didn't Mikey knock out Robert Easter?
No, I don't think he knocked him out. But yeah, Mikey, he's really good, Mikey. But
He beat Robert Easter
now,
Jr. He beat Robert Easter Jr. He beat Adrian Broner. He beat who else? He beat.
He beat that guy. He beat that guy, Sergey Lipnets.
Lipnets. That was a really good fight. But right, that's Mikey. That was Mikey Garcia back then. Mikey now, yeah, he's gaining a lot of weight. He doesn't seem like he's in the gym all the time. Like he's just looking for a paycheck. That's what it seems like to me.
He's not a professional, man. He's not a professional.
You said he beats it in prime, Mikey.
He probably would. Taylor probably would.
I don't know about that.
Mikey,
I mean, but that was all at light. Wasn't that all at lightweight? Mikey Garcia was doing all that.
Mikey, honestly, man, Mikey
Garcia
is somewhat overrated, man. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
Mikey Garcia. Yeah, Mikey Garcia is definitely
overrated.
Mikey Garcia was definitely overrated. Before he fought Spence, before he fought Spence, he was a top 5. I think he was in top 5 pounds.
I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. I'm just saying he's somewhat overrated. Look at his resume. His resume
is solid, Mike. Come on.
He beat Salido. He beat a lot of top fighters, man. Robert Easter.
He beat Wanma as well.
Imran. I mean, those are solid wins, man. But that's it. Who's Robert Easter? Like, is he like a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Robert Easter's not that great. I mean, Richard Comey. Richard Comey beat Robert Easter, I swear.
Who's Josh Taylor beat then?
Ramirez.
He's undisputed.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
But it's undisputed. It's for undisputed, man.
Yeah, but Robert Easter was a champion. So was Sergey.
Okay.
Robert Easter's trash.
Oh, come on. No, he's not.
He's trash. He's trash. He's trash.
Okay, what's Imran, what's Mikey's best win for you? What's his best win?
Mikey's best win. Here's the thing. It's the way he dominated, though. Mikey dominated. Taylor's not dominating. Mikey was dominating his competition.
Yeah, but he wasn't dominating at 140, was he? He wasn't dominating at 140. And I mean, he wasn't fighting guys like Loma. He wasn't fighting Loma.
Okay, so you're
Loma
saying...
was the man. Loma was the man.
Would Ramirez beat Mikey Garcia in his prime?
Loma was the man in that division, and Mikey never fought him.
What I'm arguing is that you guys... What the reason why I'm saying you guys are overrating is because you guys are making it seem as if Mikey is just gonna kill these dudes. I don't see that. I don't see him going in there and he's gonna kill these dudes.
I would beat him if he's old Mikey.
I guarantee you, if Mikey goes back to 140, he dominates. He's dominating that. He's dominating. He dominates 140. If he goes back, book it.
Okay, Steven. I'm gonna ask you the same question. What's his best win at junior welterweight? What's his best win?
Okay. Listen to me. One second. Let me tell you his best wins. Right? Jesse Vargas, Robert Easter, Sergey Lipnets, Adrian Broner, Dejan Zlatikanen. Right? He beat Orlando Salido. Come on, man. Those are good names.
Trust me, I know that's old as Salido.
It's cutting out.
Back in the days.
Salido beat Lomachenko.
Yeah, he beat Lomachenko, man.
Yeah, when he came in
that was
Lomachenko's
first fight, man. That was his first fight.
Lomachenko's second fight.
No, Imran.
Look how much experience Lomachenko had coming into the pro ranks.
But Imran, he hit Lomachenko. You need to understand. Orlando Salido, he cheated in that fight. He hit Loma in the balls like 100 times, and the ref didn't even do anything about it.
Tell me how many.
Remember, Imran. We're talking about what he would do at 140. You're bringing up Orlando Salido, who was a featherweight, man. He was a featherweight.
Okay.
And Jesse.
So that's what I'm asking. Tell me.
That was a welterweight.
Yeah, that was.
Yes, but Jesse Vargas. Who hasn't beat Jesse Vargas?
Oh, but look how much bigger he is.
Yeah,
no, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Do you think that you think Mikey Garcia is gonna knock out Josh Taylor, a guy who's bigger than Mikey Garcia?
I never said knockout. He didn't even knock out Broner. I said
that's
he could beat Josh Taylor.
Yeah. There's a possibility. Yeah, of course he can beat them. But Steven
Broner's overrated as well, so that's not really good win for Mikey.
like he was gonna chop his head off.
But what I'm saying is, at the lower, no. I don't think listen. I think Mikey Garcia could dominate. I think he could dominate Taylor. Yeah, I do. I think Mikey Garcia was a great fight. I've seen him many times. He dominated.
I think you guys are.
No,
I think you guys are
I
overrating
don't see
Zoom.
that.
I mean,
that's what I mean by overrated, because you're saying he's gonna dominate them.
Okay, let's look at it then, right? Let's look at it. Ramirez. Does Mikey Garcia in his prime beat Ramirez?
Yes.
Come on, man. He destroyed.
But what's his prime, Imran?
Ramirez is wild, Mike.
Yeah, but the thing is, styles make fights.
What's his prime, Imran? Is his prime a junior welterweight, or was it a featherweight for Mikey Garcia?
Even if you say 135, even if you say 135 at lightweight, right?
Ramirez, I don't know. I don't think Ramirez can make
the guy that beat. Let's look at his resume then. The guy that beat Dejan Zlatikanen, right? The guy that beat Dejan Zlatikanen. So the Mikey Garcia that beat Dejan Zlatikanen beats Ramirez. I'm convinced. And even if he goes back down now, he beats Ramirez.
So you're going based on that fight, Dejan. Who he knocked out in 3 rounds.
Yes.
Okay, I can't do that. I can't.
So what you don't know? Look at Ramirez, right? Look at Ramirez against Taylor.
I see those fights as competitive fights all the way through. I don't see them as him going in there dominating them.
Can I ask you something?
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Let me ask you a question. Seriously, who's more skilled out of Adrian Broner and Josh Taylor? Who's more skilled?
Taylor. Broner isn't overrated.
Taylor.
See, you're gonna do that. I don't want to play. I don't want to play no more.
But okay, but hold on.
What does Broner do that's so amazing?
When you're asking me who's more skilled, you're telling me like based on the eye test, right?
No, I'm talking about
skilled.
Because
if I go based on resume, Adrian Broner's never won any of the biggest fights in his career. He's lost them all.
Yeah, but come on, man. He fought killers, man. He fought guys like Maidana and what's it called? And what do you call it? What's his name?
But he got whooped by
Imran.
Those guys could be anyone at 140.
Yeah, but Imran, he got destroyed by them. He didn't give him a good fight. He got destroyed by Maidana and Pacquiao.
Yeah, I agree. He did get destroyed, but we can't judge it off those guys, man.
Plus, Imran, don't you think Broner should have won at least one of those fucking fights? Come on, man. Like, he lost them all.
Who would he have beat? Who would he beat out of those guys?
Broner lost his last fight against that Santiago guy. I mean, he's not really that good.
Broner should have.
I haven't rated Broner that highly, to be honest.
Broner should have beaten
very highly, but
I'm just saying.
I don't think you can go off the losses though, because he
What makes you think Broner's so skilled?
He lost.
I don't think he's skilled.
No, but Steven's asking that question.
He lost against Manny Pacquiao. He drew against Jesse Vargas. Lost against Mikey Garcia. Lost against Shawn Porter. Lost against Marco Maidana.
Yeah, he got dominated. I do agree. I don't think.
Imran, do you not think Mikey Garcia's room is a bit overrated?
I like the way he dominated him. He did what he had to do. However, I do think Mikey Garcia can beat everyone at 140, 100%. In his prime, yes, I do think.
I mean, it's not a stupid thing to say, but Mikey Garcia is really good, and I only think he beats in his prime. Obviously, I only think Taylor beats him. I think he beats everyone else. I just think Taylor's better than him.
Hey guys, you know who's overrated at 140?
Because you said that he was trash. Is he good or not? I'm asking you, Makai. Is he good or not? You just said he was trash. We wanted to take. You said Mikey Garcia was trash. Is he good or isn't he good?
I never said Mikey Garcia was trash. I never said Mikey Garcia was trash. I said Robert Easter Jr. was trash.
You said who?
I said Robert Easter Jr. was trash. I don't think I ever said Mikey Garcia was trash. And if I did, I was probably talking at my ass. But I don't think I ever said that.
Steven, I asked you.
Nah, I don't think I ever said that.
Broner, because you said Adrian Broner was skilled, and I'm saying, what makes you think Adrian Broner was skilled to the point where he's better than Josh Taylor?
Because he
did what?
I can see we've irritated some people in the comments.
See, my problem with Mikey is this, man, and he still has this problem. He still has this problem. He said it in interviews many times. He's not a professional, bro. He's not a professional. He's never been a professional. He's only fought as like he takes boxing like a fucking job. He's not, no boxing, no life type of mentality. Like let's say Canelo Alvarez. So the way he went about his career, if you look at his resume, I've seen this dude since he started. I've seen his family, Robert Garcia, even when they used to fight back in the day. Go look at his resumes, dude. This guy's a 4-division champion, supposedly, right? He's a 4-division champion. Who the hell has he fought in 4 divisions that stand out to you guys? Usually, when you think about 4-division champions, you're thinking, man, he's cleaning out divisions. He doesn't have a standout win, bro.
I mean,
he doesn't have a standout win.
Who was Garcia's toughest fight? Wasn't it like Lipinets or someone like that?
World champion, and it's the same rhetoric.
No, but he beat legitimate world champions. He beat world champions. Davis is beating regular champions. Mikey Garcia is a legit 4-weight world champion.
But okay, so which of those is the standout win? To answer Mike's question, then Imran.
Well, he's got a lot.
Look. He won his first title. Hold on. Look. He won his first title versus Orlando Salido, right? But that Salido, I'm telling you guys right now, that Salido is not the Salido that was a beast. It wasn't the same guy. Now, I'm not trying to discredit Mikey. He still won the fight. I'm gonna give him his credit, but I'm not gonna go based on that fight and think, man, that's a monster win or anything like that. Especially when Mike, Salido is a featherweight.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Let me just finish this real quick. He then wins another title, a junior lightweight title versus Roman Martinez. This dude was shot, bro. He was shot. Roman Martinez is a Puerto Rican. He then wins another title versus the guy that I can't even pronounce his name, the lightweight. You mentioned him, Imran.
Bijan Zlatikanen.
Okay, that dude is another guy. We know he's not there's nothing special. That's not a standout win.
He got beat by some guy who we don't even know in like 2 rounds.
And then he won another junior welterweight title against Lipnitz. He won another lightweight title against Robert Easter. And then he lost the welterweight title to Errol Spence. Those are his titles. None of those titles is that a good career? Yes. Does that make him a good fighter? Yes. Does that mean that his resume is special, or that he has a special win, a standout win, for me to go out there and assume that he's going to go to 140 and dominate these guys based off those wins? Not for me.
Okay. So if we ask that same question, you're saying that his resume is not great.
It's a little bit overrated.
Bernie, are you saying Mikey Garcia is a better resume than Loma?
No, I'm
someone
not saying
in the comment. No, Bernie Mac, someone in the comments.
I'll tell you what, some of these comments are going crazy.
They're saying Mikey beats Josh Taylor. That's what they're saying.
No way. No, but did he say that Loma's resume is worse than Mikey's? And like Mikey's a bear pound fan fighter? I think he just said that.
Yeah, because a lot of these people see. What's up, man?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that Mikey beats. I think they say Mikey beats. Mikey beats.
Yeah, but a lot of these people are Americans or something.
Yeah, they're probably Americans. Yeah. If Bernie Mac is meaning that, there's no way.
Yep. So
I just want to know what's going to make y'all happy.
I think Mikey Garcia. So if I ask you a question in his prime, right? Let's talk hypothetically, right? If Mikey fought Ramirez, who would you pick? Who would you pick to win that fight?
At 140, I would slightly pick Mikey Garcia. Slightly.
Right. And
but I wouldn't say he would dominate. That's my beef. Is that you're saying that he would completely dominate these guys. I don't think he would.
So if Mikey was to fight Victor Posto, who would you think wins that fight?
Oh, that fight might be a little bit easier. Who knows? Because Postal's not a strong dude. He's not a physically imposing dude.
Well, it wasn't an easy fight for Taylor. It was a hard.
Taylor had 13 fights in, man.
Yeah, but he still fought him. He was a guy that got dominated by Crawford prior to that. So we have to look at what
Taylor fought Porter a lot different than Crawford did. Taylor fought Porter a lot different.
How many fought Postal though?
I want to see how much you rate Mikey Garcia. What about the hypothetical matchup that was once talked about but didn't happen? At 140, Crawford versus Mikey Garcia. Who wins?
Crawford.
Easy?
What? Does he beat him easy?
Yes.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, so that's my point. He's not that great, right? He's not that great. Like Mikey Garcia is not that great.
Crawford is special. Like I think Crawford would beat Taylor easy. So I don't know what the point is with that.
Yeah.
No. My point is what you just said right now. You're saying that he would beat Taylor easy, right? And he would beat Mikey Garcia easy. That means that Mikey Garcia against Taylor is a competitive fight.
Is it? I don't think we can go. I'm not saying it's not competitive. I never said that Mikey Taylor's not a competitive fight. I'm just saying
you said he would dominate them. You said he would dominate them.
I never said he could dominate. That was Steven that said that.
No, you said that he would dominate if he went down to 140.
Yes, you said he would dominate them.
I said he would dominate all of the guys at 140.
Well, you pretty much said that, yeah. You and Steven, yeah.
I said I think he beats all of the guys at 140. I can't remember whether I said dominate. I think he beats. I think he can beat.
Yeah. Beats.
I think you did say dominate, but you probably didn't mean it like that then.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if he beats Josh Taylor.
Hey?
I'm not too sure Mikey Garcia at 140 beats Josh Taylor.
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, neither do I. I think Taylor beats him.
That'd be a good fight. That'd be a very good fight. I like that fight. But what I'm saying is he can beat Josh Taylor. There's no way I'm looking at Josh Taylor and saying, looking at his fights, he's had all hard fights, man. They would not been easy for him.
And
we just debated whether he even beat Regis Prograis.
Yeah, but you could debate about whether Canelo beat Golovkin.
Yeah, we could, but that's what I'm saying.
Who won though? Who won?
Golovkin won the first fight.
No. Who won? It
was draw.
Exactly.
No, but that
I just think Mikey Garcia's best.
Jamel and Castano was a draw then, right, Ray?
Say that again.
Jamel and Castano was a draw then, because he didn't win.
Yeah,
hey, he didn't win on paper.
It was, but in my opinion, Castano won.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Castano won that fight, so we can't go off what we know what boxing's like. A lot of corruption. So
look, I understand. I don't think in any of those fights were based on corruption, though. I don't think any of those fights were robberies.
So you think? But going back, it was incompetency.
It happens. I mean, look, if someone told me, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you off, right, so that you could score the fight for this guy," why the fuck am I gonna turn in a lopsided scorecard?
Yeah, true.
Why am I going to make it obvious? Why am I going to make it obvious? I mean, how stupid am I going to be to do that? You know,
I could agree.
Like this happens all the time. This happens all the time in boxing. It happens all the time. Every weekend, there's a crazy scorecard, man.
111, Charlo. Absolutely no way. It's the same when Mayweather beat Alvarez and that woman scored it a draw.
So yes, what is
it's the same scorecards when Mayweather fought Castillo, and all the scorecards, a lot of those scorecards were lopsided toward Mayweather too. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Look at every week. Every weekend of boxing, there's going to be a crazy ass scorecard out there. We can't just assume, man, that there's a massive corruption.
It's human error.
Yes, of course it is human error. That's what it is. It's human errors. I don't think it's Is there corruption out there? Yes, but is every bad scorecard, corrupted? No.
Not every bad scorecard's corruption. No.
It's funny.
It's just. Look. If we go back to let's say we talk about the Canelo Triple G, Adelaide Burr's scorecard, we can all agree it was fucking terrible, right? It was terrible. But if you see the video where she explains how she scored the fight, you realize that it was not corrupted. It was just based on the way she scores fights, bro. No, it's because look, dog, the perception of the way she scores a fight, man, she was going based on like she was scoring the fight almost like if it was like a fucking amateur fight in a sense, bro. Where like she was going based on like, the cleaner landed punches. So when she was seeing like Triple G. So when she was scoring the fights, man, she was scoring based on the fact that Triple G. Look, you could say whatever you want about Triple G. Triple G missed 500 punches of 700 that he threw, bro. That's a lot of missed punches, dog. And when you're getting hammered with counter punches, you can see scorecards that might look.
Go on, Steven. Let Steven in. Go on.
I mean, I was just saying, Adelaide Bird.
It was a bad scorecard. Nobody's denying that. It was a bad scorecard.
Adelaide Bird is the reason why Triple G is where he's at now. Why he's a shell of the fighter that he used to be. Because you had idiot savants like her judging the fights.
No, bro, but that's not. No, because you can't. Hold on, Steven. But hold on. You can't ignore the other two judges, bro. There was one other judge who had 115.
But Adelaide, but we
115, 113.
Adelaide.
No, I know. But hold on. Let me.
One second, Mike. Let me. When you talking specifically about Adelaide Bird, she has a prolific history, of throwing fights, of being being a complete idiot.
I get you. But this is my point. Let me just tell you this. If Adelaide Burr scores a fight 115, 113 for Canelo Alvarez, what's the result? A draw, right? If she scores it, hold on. If she scores it,
what's the result?
No. If she scores at 114,
man,
what is it? It's a majority draw still, right? Why? Because there was another judge who scored it. Bro. Hey, but it's because you're not listening to what I'm saying, dog. There was another judge who scored it a draw, bro. And there was another judge who scored it 115, 113. That means that there were swing rounds. Even the 115, 113 could have been a draw.
I'd agree with
for Triple G. You understand what I'm saying? We can't ignore the other two judges, bro.
I understand what you're saying. But I'm saying this. What if Adelaide Bird, she scored at 115, 113 to Gennady? Who wins that fight?
But she wasn't going to score it like that because it's obvious that she saw Canelo win the fight.
But that's my point. That's my point. My point is that she was fucking up the cards, man. She been doing it.
She did it too for Bradley Pacquiao.
I agree with what Mike's saying.
I get what you're saying, Steven.
Yes, sir.
I get what you're saying, Steven. But the problem is that we about every judge. What if scored it a draw? What if the one who had it a draw scored it for Canelo 115, 113? You could say that about every judge.
If this is a fifth, we all be drunk. But the thing is Adelaide Bird has a history. I'm talking.
Yeah, he's right. Steven's right. Adelaide Bird also scored the Pacquiao Bradley one atrociously as well.
Look, boys. Adelaide Bird, has she officiated on a fight since then?
I don't know. I can't.
Adelaide Bird's awful.
Money. She's not judged a fight since then.
I think she has. It's good that she hasn't.
Yeah, I think she has.
She needs to stay away from that.
When? You tell me a fight she's done since I don't think she has. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I hold my hands up, but I don't think she has.
I think. Right.
What's going on? Where is everyone?
I'm still here.
Yo,
I'm here.
I'm here.
What's going on here?
Oh my God.
What is going on? There's a problem. What is going on? Guys, we there? Oh, what's going on?